goal. Randy, what does that mean to you, looking at it from a perspective as a broadcaster and a former player? 1-goal games?
Well, I think that, you know what, you have a lot of resolve, you have a lot of character, and you know how to finish out games. I mean, just as easily they could have 3 one-goal losses and be 0-4. And I think it comes down with, that perseverance, but I think also leadership, knowing what to do with the ball, at the end. I mean, last week, against Philadelphia, I mean, they had the 1-goal margin. They get scored on a short man goal by Philadelphia, but still had 32. They had enough character and enough resolve in the locker room to still realize, we still have the power play. Let's make sure we still have this opportunity to win. And Luke Wiles gets that game winner and finishes out the game. So that tells me, they're never out of the game. And it also tells me that when the game is on the line, they're able to pull it out with a victory. They're able to end up on that winning side, and that shows a lot of character for the Buffalo Bandits.
Let's return to last week very quickly and review the Bandits' 14-13 win over Philadelphia. 14 players in all helped with scoring, including Mike Hominick's second straight hat trick, Sean Williams with 6 assists, Anthony Cosmo with 36 saves. Randy, overall, coming into this evening's game, 21 players from the Bandits roster have a point or more. That gives you an indication that everybody is chipping in.
Yeah, everybody is chipping in. From the transition players trying to get the ball up the floor, in terms of getting the ball to the offensive guys or actually taking it to the cage themselves. But that's impressive because there's threats all over the floor. When you're playing that 5-on-5 situation, first and foremost, you got to have 5 threats. And you look at the main guys, Sean Williams, coming in the trade, has done a phenomenal job. I mean, he's the Ironman of the league, going to play in his 201st game consecutively. It's pretty amazing. Leading the Bandits, 4 goals, 17 assists. You got the young buck, Dane Smith. He didn't really have a good first game, but really over his last 3 games, he's 8-5 for 14 points. Second place on the Buffalo Bandit offense. Guys like, obviously, Johnny Tavares, Chad Culp, Aaron Wilson, Lukey Wiles, Kaluski Stainhouse. I think that they're really kind of finding that mix that not only can it come from the 5-on-5 situations, but they can transition the ball. They're scoring the ball when they're given the opportunity on the power play. So when you have all those threats, it's really tough to defend.
Crowd of about 16,538 are expected this evening. A brisk walk-up also as the doors swing open here at the First Niagara Center. For those of you that are listening to our pregame show and driving in, please drive safely. We'll be here. The game will probably be maybe delayed a little bit while everybody files through the portals, but just slow down. You'll get here. No problem at all. Randy, let's go back and discuss goaltending for the Buffalo Bandits. Anthony Cosmo has really turned in a fine performance the last couple of games in a 36-save performance last week against Philadelphia.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the Cos has done a fairly decent job as he's been. He hasn't had the stellar year so far, to be honest with you. He's gotten pulled a couple of times. Curtis Wager came in. He's a great backup, able to suffice. Buffalo gets the win. But as Darius Kilgore said, we're still going to go with Cos. And as he's getting used to the new defensive guys in the system, because, again, last year he came mid-year, I think he's starting to find his comfort zone. You go against the sharpshooters, Crowley and Rabel and Kevin Ross from last week. I thought he put in a very, very good performance. Goals against still up there. But again, when the game was on the line and Kevin Ross has got a chance on the left side, he had 4 goals in the game. Anthony Cosmo comes up with the big right shoulder, sealing the victory for the Buffalo Bandits. And again, that just breeds more and more confidence into the defense and into the team, just as a whole. Because, hey, you know what? Our goalie can make saves, and when we play great defense in front of him, we got a pretty good chance of winning.
Roster changes tonight for the Buffalo Bandits. We'll talk about the extended roster changes in a couple of moments, but of note, the Bandits' captain, all-time leading scorer, John Tavares, will not play tonight. He's got a calf injury, re-injured that calf last week against the Philadelphia Wings. Randy, here's a guy that I'm sure that the team is prepared for, of understanding that there will be moments that he will not be able to go.
Well, there may be some moments, and that's going to test the resolve of the Bandits tonight. What I think though is I think that they're just deep. I think a good thing is Mike Hominick is really kind of coming his own. The last 2 games, a hat trick in both games. He's kind of one of those unsung heroes. Maybe you don't hear, he's not the front line guy, but you know what? He's doing his role. He's pushing the limit, and maybe he becomes more of a front line guy. I like the fact that they traded for Sean Williams. You have that obviously veteran leadership in Johnny Tavares. He knows how to win. But having another guy of that caliber as Sean Williams is, so you're not really going to lack in terms of the leadership standpoint on the floor. Sean's a guy that can, bring guys back a level, have that poise, have that calmness as the game goes through its ebbs and flows. But then somebody else has got to step up. But then when you reflect back, you got 21 guys, all got a point.
Yep.
They're scoring from everywhere. On the right side, Kaluski and Lukey Wiles. So somebody has the opportunity to step up for John tonight. As he continues to go through his career, you know what? Maybe he's going to have to sit a game or two due to some nagging injuries. But I like what I see. I think Nicky Cotter is going to get the replacement.
Yes.
And he's a phenomenal lacrosse player in his own right. But here's the kicker. He's sat the last 2 or 3 games. And you sit there and you got a guy like Nick Cotter sitting. Well, that just shows you the depth of the Buffalo Bandit 23-man roster.
Who will run the power play tonight for the Bandits that John Tavares is out?
Well, I think Sean Williams is obviously going to be one of those left-handers. You got Luke Wiles, Aaron Wilson. I probably think that they're going to go heavy right. You're probably still going to continue to involve Tracy Kaluski. You got Dane Smith, but he's another righty. Does he get his touch on the power play? Maybe as a support cast. But then I think on that left-hand side, you're going to have Sean Williams, Chad Culp, who's had a pretty outstanding last couple of games. I think those are probably the guys that'll see the see the power play. Mikey Hominick might get a touch on the power play, support cast on the left-hand side.
Interesting.
But again, these guys can throw the ball around. They all can slip. They all can pick. They all have phenomenal shots. So it's a good problem to have as a coach. Sometimes you got to deal with some egos, but as a coach, you're like, you know what? We got a lot of guys that can ball.
Fans filing in here. We're part of the pregame show from the Ted Darling Memorial Press Box. Now to the Toronto Rock, 4-1, and they're on a 2-game winning streak. They played their second back-to-back weekend with wins over Minnesota and Rochester last week. Randy, they have an abundance of talent and experience. They go to the leaderboard. That's all you have to look as far as the leaderboard in the National Lacrosse League. You see Garrett Billings leading in points at 29. Colin Doyle with 23. They are second and fourth, respectively, in points in the NLL. And then you've got the hot hand this year in Josh Sanderson.
Yeah, they certainly do. Obviously, offense is not a negative on the Toronto Rock. I mean, they have guys that can ball. They know how to win. They play tough. They have a great mix of transition, grinder, unsung hero guys. You look at a Jesse Gamble and a Sandy Chapman who's got 5, NLL championships to his name. He's like Liberace with the rings. But you know what? They're not the main, hey, you're going to read their name in the paper. Yep. But they got guys that just plug along, get the GBs, do all the little things. They got great defensive transition. Nick Rose, 285 in the nets. I mean, you really got to be able to pick. But then all of a sudden you look at the offense. And now Toronto does something a little bit different maybe than the Buffalo Bandits, where Buffalo's really kind of run more so like a 2 kind of 5-man unit and maybe a little rotation, where you look at Toronto, they really kind of run 6 guys out the front door. And it's a testament to the athleticism, of those players. But, on the left-hand side, you're going to have Colin Doyle, Stephen LeBlanc, and Josh Sanderson.
A lot of fire.
And on the right-hand side, you're going to have Casey Behrens, Blaine Manning, who hasn't maybe had the best season, so far, and Garrett Billings. And those guys get all the offensive runs. So look at the team chemistry you can build. The little slip, I'm going to slide here, I'm going to cut here. Like it's pretty amazing. And these guys have all played together the last 2-3 years. And so when they see and can take an advantage of a miscommunication, a mishap in terms of matchup, I mean, they explode. And they're pretty good at putting the ball in the net. And Anthony Cosmo is going to have a big, big game against this Toronto offense.
Brian Shanahan, who is covering the game this evening for TSN, indicated that the defense is really moving fast this year. They've increased their speed, and they're a part of the offensive flow. Would you expect that from Toronto tonight against the Bandits?
Oh, I definitely think so. Again, if you can score on 4-on-3s and 5-on-4s or 3-on-2s in terms of transition, why wouldn't you? And I think, when you look at Buffalo and as they're running their kind of 2 offensive unit, and, guys are still getting out the back, the offensive guys are getting to the front door to get out the back door. Can you take advantage of that change if you can have 2-3 guys just getting up the floor. And they got the guys that are athletic to do it. Again, unsung heroes, but you got guys that have a lot of experience. You got the Stephen Hoares, the Cam Woods, again Chapman. He's he's the Energizer Bunny out there. Jesse Gamble's exactly the same thing. They're going to play tough defense, and then they're going to go. And they're all capable offensive guys as well. They all have good sticks. They all know how to look, and they all can bury the ball. And then if they can get that jointed with a Colin Doyle coming out the front door or a Garrett Billings coming out the front door, that's all good for them. So I would imagine that they're going to try to see if they can expose Buffalo in that transition game tonight.
Chris White returns to Buffalo, this time in the opponent's sweater. The former Buffalo Bandit captain, Randy, you as a player in making a team change. What is it like when you come out on the floor with a team that you used to be with and now you're on an opponent?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things why you maybe make the change. I know for Whitey, a little bit closer to home. There was, from what I understand, kind of like, hey, some contract things, kind of going on, and whatever that dynamic is. But regardless, you come back. I mean, he spent his, majority of his career, or not all his career, here in Buffalo. Yep, he was the captain of the team. Yep. And through, things that happen as everybody's making their shuffles, trying to improve their team, he ends up in Toronto, and maybe a better move for him personally. But you're going to come back. You still, he knows the environment. He knows the craziness of this Buffalo Bandit land here at the First Niagara Center. I think he's got to be pumped. I think he's got to be, okay, I'm coming back. I'm wondering whether or not he gets a few boo birds out there. Boo! Yeah, you're on the you're on the opponents. Yeah. But I'm sure he's going to be pumped to let everybody know that, hey, all these with the opponents, he's still a phenomenal ball player as he is. But I think there's still going to be no love lost. In this day of pro sports, guys go here, guys go there, and you know what? He's going to come to play. He plays for the Toronto Rock right now, and he's playing to win. So he's going to grind. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little rough stuff at the beginning as everybody pans everybody out. But he's a phenomenal ball player, and he's going to bring it tonight because that's the character of Chris White.
This is the pregame show tonight from downtown Buffalo at the First Niagara Center as the Bandits host the Toronto Rock. Coming up in the pregame will be Coach's Corner with Darius Kilgore, also the rookie Dane Smith, and our Reebok player profile. Now this time out, please. This is Bandits Lacrosse. I am? Wow. Let me move my mic a little closer. How's that? I'll bring it up a little bit more. Already 4 games. Let's just do a quick review of what you like. How's that? Is that better? Joe, is that better? Okay, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to First Niagara Center for tonight's game featuring the Bandits. This arena has enhanced dimensions and employees with the ballers from the city area. Nevertheless, please be aware that under some circumstances the Wolves.
37th regular season meeting between the Rock and the Bandits. The Rock have the edge, 20 wins to 16 losses, including a 13-7 record here in Buffalo. The Bandits have won 9 of the last 12 meetings. This is the first of 3 meetings this season. The other 2 will be in Toronto the end of this month and the end of March. When the Bandits score 14 or more goals in a game, they are 50-6 under head coach Darius Kilgore. I'm sure that he would like another total team effort like he's seen the last 3 games by 1 goal, maybe. Time for Coach's Corner with the winningest coach in the National Lacrosse League. Coach, what do you like so far? 4 games played?
Like I said last week, I think we keep improving every quarter, and I thought we did a great job last week of battling and scoring some goals when we had to. So very happy with the offense, and the defense is coming around, and obviously Cosmo's trying to find a rhythm. So hopefully all that can continue.
What have you worked on this week in order to maybe make up for some of the mistakes you were a little concerned about?
Just more continuity, more communication. I think just with all the new faces in the lineup, guys are still figuring each other out, but we're getting better each week, and and hopefully this will be the week that'll all click for us.
With the lineup, there are some changes tonight.
Yeah, Johnny Tavares is out, obviously, so we're going to have Nick Cotter play, and then on the back door, Jimmy Purvis is back in. Mike McNamara pulled his hamstring, so he went on the IR.
And Mike Hominick, will he be in the lineup tonight?
Yep, he's done a great job, and when a guy's that high, you don't want to mess with it. Let him go and ride it until it goes down.
John Harrison continues with his suspension, or is that one more game?
No, this is the last game for him. He'll be eligible next week, and just gives us more options on the back door.
Two traditional box teams coming to the floor tonight in the Rock and the Bandits. What do you see from the Rock so far?
Typical Rock. They have a good system on the back door. They have good goaltending, and their offense is very unselfish. They move the ball well, and they have a good plan. So, we have to be on point defensively and make them play faster than they want. And we got to get Nick Rose moving side to side, wear him down, get some shots on him, and just understand what they're trying to do to us with the defense that they run. I think we all know each other, and we all know everybody's system. So, as always, it's going to come down to execution. How do you beat a goaltender like Nick Rose, who, like last week, was Brandon Miller, number one? Now he comes in this week, number one in the league of goals against and save percentage. You just got to move him side to side. You got to get volume of shots, just like every goalie. You definitely want to get side to side movement and either wear him down or you can get some quick sticks on him. He doesn't have great lateral movement, but he is a big, solid goalie, and if you shoot from the outside on him, he's going to eat him up all night. Give us an idea of the defense that Toronto employs. Same thing as the Bandits, just a little bit less pressure. They want to go over the top of the picks, double team when it's available, slide early if they can. So we know what they're going to do, and it's just up to our offense to break them down. The front door has pretty much been the same over the years for the Rock. They've got a lot of experience and some great shooters and great playmakers. Yeah, when you come into a season like this, the teams that have that continuity on the front door or back door seem to be a little bit ahead of the rest of the teams in the league. And, we were behind the 8 ball this year against most teams because we had so many changes. So, after 4 games, I think guys are really starting to understand their roles and understand each other. And hopefully we can negate that tonight. Were you expecting this in certain situations like John Tavares has to step out of the lineup? Do you have to be prepared for this on a regular basis now coming into this regular season? Yeah, for a couple of years now, we've been wanting to give Johnny a couple of games off, but, it just always seems that, the last couple of years, every game has been so important in the East. It's been so tight. So we've been planning for this for a couple of years, but at the same time, you never really plan on, replacing an all-star like John Tavares. So, it's always a challenge, but at the same time this year, I think we have more depth on the left side than we've had in years, and, hopefully we can fill them in throughout, not just one guy, but through everybody. What are your expectations with tonight's game? This is a true test for the Bandits. Yeah, every week's a true test for the Bandits. Philly was looking real good up until last week, and, we did a good job against them. And, I know everybody likes to say Toronto's the model of the league, but I don't think they're anything special. I think they're old on the front door. I think we're going to run them into the ground, and I really expect to win by 4 or 5 tonight. Coach, great, thanks. Thank you.
Head coach Darius Kilgore before the start of tonight's warm-up here at First Niagara Center. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you. The pregame show as the Bandits host the Toronto Rock. Up next is the Reebok player profile. It is the Bandits' #1 draft choice of the class of 2012, Dane Smith. Please, this time out, this is Bandits Lacrosse. Toronto Rock, the first-round draft choice of the 2012 class, Dane Smith, joining us. And Dane, so far so good, 4 games in. How do you feel? The National Lacrosse League this week announced the Players of the Month. It goes to Sean Evans of the Calgary Roughnecks in 4 games, 13 goals, 18 assists, 22 loose balls. Evans recorded 31 points and a single game high of 13 points on January 25th at Colorado. The Rookie of the Month goes to Mark Matthews from the Edmonton Rush. 8 goals, 11 assists. Matthews recorded 19 points, 8 and 11, and 4 loose balls in a single game high of 9 points. That's 4 goals and 5 assists on January 20th. Time now for the Reebok player profile here from Buffalo. Redefine your game with Reebok's new Black line. Reebok Black was designed and engineered for the elite lacrosse player. Reebok's Black line features a lightweight and minimalistic design with carbon light technology. It's performance-driven, technology-driven, NLL proven. You can find all the new Reebok lacrosse gear online at ReebokBlack.com. Buffalo's #1 draft choice from the class of 2012 is Dane Smith. He is our Reebok player profile. Great junior career, 3 30-plus goal seasons with Kitchener-Waterloo, including 107 points last year. Dane has already scored 8 goals and 6 assists with the Bandits. What do you think, Dane? How do you feel?
I'm feeling great, not as nervous, of course. The guys have helped me out, of course, and I feel really good, actually. I'm not as nervous going into games, and yeah.
What part of your game do you like the best right now?
Well, obviously my offensive game has helped me out a lot. The guys have been finding me when I've been open, and I've been putting the ball in the net. So.
What about the style of play that the Bandits employ? Do you feel that you've meshed in quite well?
Yeah, really well. They're letting me go one-on-one when I get the chances to, and they're building me into the system and stuff, and I like it.
What about your shot from an area of the floor that you enjoy? Is it from the outside? Is it close into the slot area? What's your favorite target?
Well, obviously I'd prefer to be inside to score. It's a little bit easier, but the outside, I've been taking a lot of outside shots, so I'll take it when they come, and hopefully it goes in.
This is a very big game tonight against the Toronto Rock, 4-1. The Bandits are 3-1. You've got 3 straight games under your belt as a win. What do you feel that the advantages are for the Bandits going into this evening's game against the Rock?
Oh, for sure. Being at home, our fans are great. We've been playing really well at home. I know we've only got 1-goal wins, but if we stay out of the box, I feel like we'll be fine with the fans supporting us. 2
traditional box-style teams. What do you expect from Toronto's defense?
I expect them to push the ball a little bit. They play the same style of defense as us, so we're used to it, and hopefully we can take advantage.
Have you ever played against a goaltender like Nick Rose?
Actually, I played against him in junior, my first year of junior. He was his last year of junior, and he's a big guy. He steps out, so hopefully we can get him moving, and we should be fine.
What do you think about shooting against a goaltender like that? Where do you aim?
Low, for sure. He's a big guy up top. Get him moving side to side on the run, and you should be able to put it past him.
What about the adjustments coming from junior and now playing in the NLL? What really was the toughest challenge for you stepping out on the floor for the first time?
For sure the speed, totally different speed of the game, and the size difference. There's a big size difference. I'm a big kid myself, but you still get pushed around.
How do you feel when you're out on the floor with John Tavares and Sean Williams? There's a lot of confidence out there, and certainly makes you play much better.
Yeah, for sure. It hasn't really sunk in yet that I'm playing with these guys, and I remember growing up watching them, so it's really nice. They've helped me so much. So they find you when you don't expect them to find you, and yeah.
Give the fans an opportunity and the listeners at home a little bit more from the personal side of Dane Smith. What are you into? What do you do during the week? Give us a background of some of your personal interests.
I don't do much during the week right now. I work out every day with my trainer. That's about it. I plan on going back to school next year in the Kitchener area, and other than that, I lay low, try to watch film, all that stuff, but most lacrosse related, family and stuff, but yeah, that's about it.
You play lacrosse on TV as well?
If they had a game, I'd be playing it. I had Blast Lacrosse, which came out like 10 years ago, I'm sure, and I still got to play that a little bit.
What's your favorite Xbox game, or 360, or whatever you
For sure, NHL 13, I play that a lot. I wish they had a NLL, but NHL's pretty good.
Now, mixing in with the team as you have very quickly, and 4 games into the season, a quarter way gone, the confidence level obviously is there, but what some of the things internally that you're working on right now that's improving your game step by step?
See the floor a lot better. I know, like, we run a spread offense, and as long as I see guys, I know they're cutting and stuff. Don't put my head down, and I know, like, they've helped me out a lot with that stuff, and he'll come.
What about the practice sequence on a Tuesday night? You only have 1 time to practice with the team. When you you get together, what are some of the things that you as a player concentrate on in that Tuesday night practice?
Try to get back in shape, obviously, for the weekend, not be as sore, try to loosen up a little bit, but obviously talk it over with the guys, what we did wrong, what we did right, and then try to talk. The most important thing is to talk to each other and figure it out.
Speed of the game, obviously, something different for you to adjust to. What about the physical end of the game? Is it tougher?
Yeah, it's for sure tougher. You're going into the corners for a loose ball, and you're coming out a little bit banged up, but it's all obviously worth it. It's like you don't feel it till after the game, and it's great.
What about playing here at First Niagara Centre and the hometown fans? How's the experience been for you?
It's been awesome, honestly. They welcome me so well. When I run out of the tunnel, it's an amazing feeling because I get a huge ovation and stuff like that. And my parents were telling me that there's a lot of fans with my jerseys and stuff, and that's really awesome. It's a great feeling.
Your parents get a chance to come down to see you at the games here?
Yeah, my mom comes every game and stuff like that, so it's a good experience, and I like that.
Dane Smith, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bandits rookie Dane Smith with us tonight on the pregame show here from the First Niagara Centre in downtown Buffalo as the Bandits get ready to take the Toronto Rock on. We're moments away from the opening draw. The house lights are down, the spotlights draping the floor, and they're waiting for the spotlight introduction of the Buffalo Bandits coming out on the turf here at First Niagara Centre. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you. Randy, I butchered that one question about Dane Smith playing the Xbox or the 360. What do you call it, man? I'm clueless.
Well, I mean, you got it all. I mean, technology today, it's crazy, but it's kind of funny. He mentioned the good old blast lacrosse. Oh man, that's old school. I think as NLL guys or lacrosse guys, sooner or later there's going to become a great lacrosse video game, because I play it all the time too.
Do you have a favorite game? Do you like to play? I'm sure your boys like to play a little Xbox.
Nah, they're all Xbox. I don't know. There's like Minecraft stuff. I mean, these kids are just like, I don't know. Sometimes it scares me. It's like they're, you're playing a dude from China. like how's that even work? It's craziness. But we try to limit the video games as much as we can, get them out and be active. But you know what? Back in the day, for me, Tetris. You could play that thing for 5 hours because you get to level 87, and then one of your buddies hit your elbow and you screw up changing the left to the right and it doesn't fit.
Then you'd be really messed up.
Well, then you got to start all over again because you can do better. What a waste of time.
Players coming out of the turf independently, being announced by public address announcer Chris Swinson in preparation of tonight's game with the Buffalo Bandits and Toronto Rock. And that means the game is next. We'll be back after this timeout on Bandits Lacrosse.
On to Bandits number 18.
True rivalry. Two teams that have done battle 36 times in the regular season and many forgetful ones in the playoffs. Two teams that play a traditional box game so physical, tempers can erupt more than the goal lights illuminate and twirl. And two teams that just plain don't like each other. Good evening, lacrosse fans down the line in Western New York. John Gertler along with my broadcast partner Randy Mearns with you from downtown Buffalo at the First Niagara Centre. The house lights are down, the spotlights are draping the field, the spotlight introduction for the Buffalo Bandits, and we await the opponent, the Toronto Rock. Randy, that gives us a time to take a look at tonight's roster and most notably changes for the Buffalo Bandits.
Yeah, a couple of changes. I mean, one, we're still without the services of Johnny Harrison. He's serving the second of a 2-game suspension for a high hit. Mike McNamara, one of the stalwart defensemen, has been moved to the injured reserve, which has now brought Kevin Brownell, practice player guy, into the active roster. Now, that being said, John Tavares is out of the lineup. Nick Cotter going to serve on that left-hand side. Again, you know, a young buck can play. And Kevin Brownell and Carter Bender, two of these young stalwart Buffalo Bandits, they're going to be out of the lineup. For the Toronto Rock, again, they're going to stay with some of that traditional offense in veteran, I guess, roster, where some of the youngsters, Kyle Belton, Scotty Johnson, and Brandon Ivey, will all be healthy scratch tonight for the Rock.
Anthony Cosmo gets the call for the Buffalo Bandits. Will be to our broadcast left. Nick Rose to our broadcast right, the leader in the National Lacrosse League in save percentage and goals against. Now let's go down to the turf for the singing of the Canadian and U.S. national anthems.
Kevin Kennedy.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Kevin Kennedy singing the Canadian and U.S. national anthems tonight from downtown Buffalo at the First Niagara Center, where the Buffalo Bandits continue their homestand, and the Toronto Rock in town, leading the NLL with a gleaming 4-1 record, but right behind them, the Buffalo Bandits in the winner tonight, Randy, will take over sole possession of the Eastern Division.
Yeah, they certainly will. Chief official Mark Gardinio is going to have his hands full, I think, tonight. Assistant referee Josh Hiltz and the shot clock operator Roger Nurse. I mean, this is going to be a tough physical affair. And, wow, you know what? Darius is calling it. You know, in that pregame interview, he thinks he's going to run away from this Toronto Rock team. You know, I'm sure that he's challenged his players. This is for first place. And as we know, John, every game is the playoff game. The parity is so close, you can't take any nights off. and I'm sure that message from Coach Kilgore has gotten to the Buffalo Bandits because he's called it. He doesn't want to be on the wrong side of a good call.
Nick Rose goes between the pipes for the Toronto Rock. .814 save percentage, 9.31 goals against average, number 1 in the National Lacrosse League. Anthony Cosmo, 2-0 record, .722 save percentage, made 36 goals last week. And the Bandits' victory over Philadelphia. And lining up at center for the opening draw will be Jay Thornburg. 50% success rate on those draws. He also leads the team in loose balls at 34, but Randy, he's going against a veteran and Stephen Hoare. Get this. This will be his 2,935th draw. Right down on the surface right now. And I'll tell you what, he's got a lot of experience of popping that ball.
Oh, he certainly does. You know, he's been a mainstay for the Toronto Rock, it seems like forever. I had the opportunity to coach Stephen Hoare in 2006. He's part of Team Canada. Phenomenal athlete, good sized kid too, like 6'3", 210, 215, just solid muscle. You know, can get up and down the floor. Is going to be one of those guys that'll be a transition backdoor guy. But again, you always try to make yourself a better player, and you got to be dual purpose guys. And you know what? Taking faceoffs, playing D, transitioning. That's why you got to, you know, for the Toronto Rock, he's a guy that makes himself present, and you got to have him on the floor.
If you just joined us, John Tavares will not play this evening, as re-injured that calf that's hampered him over the course of the last couple of years. That means Nick Carter is in the lineup tonight, and also Jimmy Purvis comes back for the Buffalo Bandits. For the Toronto Rock, they're going to go with all of their great guns, and it's led by Garrett Billings, who leads the league in assists. He's got 29 points coming into this evening's game. We're underway with a loose ball out at mid-turf, with the Bandits controlling the ball and working it nicely is Mike Hominick. The Bandits will be moving right to left here in this first frame. Great to have you with us tonight on the radio and down the line to our network affiliate in Salamanca. And there's a shot labeled on by former Toronto Rock Aaron Wilson. Deep into the corner is Dane Smith, working his way close on a Nick Rose. Here's Smith with a shot, and Rose comes up with a nice save, but the Bandits get the rebound, and the shot clock is reset. Here's Chad Cole, feather pass, shot straight on, and Rose makes a pad save. Yeah. Mike Hoffman at point-blank range.
And some big saves for Nick Rose, filling the rubber early. Buffalo gets 2 offensive possessions off of the original offensive possession because of GBs, but Nick Rose, equal to the task, throwing out those big pipes down low.
Here comes Toronto down into the Buffalo zone. Outside the line is Garrett Billings. He'll work it right back to the top of the slot. There's a shot straight on. Cosmo comes up with a nice save. Scott Evans let that one go, and the Bandits break out at mid-third. 3-on-1 break for the Bandits. Feather pass in front. That's a shot just off the side of the Bandits, and that's nicely done by David Brock, who has matched his offensive performance for his career, as Brock had a 2-2 margin last weekend.
Yeah, more and more I like David Brock. I've had the opportunity to watch him at the University of Albany. Good-sized kid, 6'4", 210, but he's got legs. He's like a gazelle. He can get up and down the floor, and he's tough. And he's a good matchup defensively for the Buffalo Bandits because of his size, and he's got some soft hands, Johnny.
This is first quarter action with the Bandits and Rock. There is no score. Working the ball as Nick Cotter is back in the lineup. Far side pass, long shot, score! Dane Smith.
I think it was a good pick, Johnny, for the pregame player profile. Dane Smith puts the Buffalo Bandits up early. He gets a feed across field, and he utilizes the Toronto Rock defender a little bit as a screen, and he just kind of goes side arm to the short side. A lot of commotion in front of Rose. I don't think he sees it, and that thing flies by the right shoulder like a laser, and the Bandits are up by 1.
Dane Smith with his 9th goal of the year to give the Bandits a 1-0 lead. Dane was our Reebok player profile in our pregame show this evening. Randy, a very well-spoken young man.
Oh, certainly is. You know, he's, and again, as he said, you know, it's kind of one of those things. He's still young enough where, you know, it's kind of like, hey, well, what are you doing during the week? Well, you know what, I'm still kind of figuring out school, and, you know, I'm hanging out at home. So guess what I get to do all day? I get to work out with my trainer. And play a little video game, but then work out with my trainer again. That's not a bad thing.
That's the new style of the lacrosse player. Bandits have a 1-0 lead here in the first quarter of play in downtown Buffalo. It's Dane Smith getting the goal. And an even strength unassisted goal. Bandits controlling the ball in over the Toronto line. Mike Hominick from the near side does a nifty move by hanging on to that ball. Plenty of time to shoot. Goes far side. There's deking for Luke Wiles. From the far corner, 13 to shoot, centering pass, saved by Nick Rose. Rebound picked up by the big goaltender, leading the National Lacrosse League with a .814 save percentage, and he'll outlet the ball at mid-turf. Troy Cordingley, the head coach of the Toronto Rock, changing things up immediately. Garrett Billings out there, goes to the far side. As it works now over to Josh Sanderson, one of the top goal scorers in the league coming into this evening's game. There comes Evans with the ball from the left point. A penalty coming up against the Bandits. The sixth attacker is out now for Toronto. There's a shot right on. And that one by Blaine Manning is turned aside by Anthony Cosmo. And with 11:59 left to play here in the first quarter, Bandits are leading 1-0, but they go into the penalty kill.
Yeah, Garrett Billings threw the ball down to the crease on the right-hand side and then tried to slip and get to this prime scoring area. But Jimmy Purvis gave him a little chop, and Gil Billings ended up falling on the floor. You see, try to run that give and go. And Gardino going to call 2 for a slash. And the Rock back on the power play for the first time tonight.
Working from the top of the slot for the power play for the Toronto Rock is Garrett Billings. He looks for an opening, goes to the far side, shoveling pass, give and go shot. Toronto scores.
It's like they did that before. Garrett Billings backs out as Blaine Manning kind of gives a little bit of a seal. They find the 2-on-1. And what a no-look from Colin Doyle. Cross crease back to the right crease. And you got to come out. You got to respect Colin Doyle. Cosmo's out, 7 feet out challenging the shooter. And he just feeds a real nice pass on the backside. And like that, we're all tied up at 1.
Casey Byrnes getting the goal for the Toronto Rock, his 10th of the year. Tied at 1, a power play goal for Toronto. They moved that ball like precision down with a one-man advantage. They've got the ball now, working it from the line is Garrett Billings. He'll dash in for the left point, looks for an opening, goes to the far side. And that'll be picked up by Toronto as working it over to Colin Doyle, the veteran. There's a shot straight on by Billings, saved by Cosmo. And he's got it in the webbing of his stick and makes the outlet pass down the right wing lane to Derek Sutton. Bandits quickly changing up on the fly. Sean Williams in over the line to the near side. Nice feed pass out in front. That one intended for Nick Cotter, but it hits the high netting, and it will be Toronto's ball. Score tied at 1. We played 4 minutes of this first quarter tonight from Buffalo with the Bandits and Rock. Bandits with their black uniforms tonight, draped in orange. Toronto, predominantly white sweaters with blue pants. And they're working it outside the Buffalo line. Near side is Garrett Billings being hampered by Billy D. Smith. Centering pass goes askew. Colin Doyle retrieves it before the over and back charge and will flip it with 3 seconds left. There comes with 2 seconds left, and they'll feed it out in front. And Mark Stainhouse has it for the Bandits. Score tied at 1. Dane Smith for Buffalo and Casey Byrnes for the Toronto Rock. Outside the line, Bandits set it up with Mike Hominick. 2 back-to-back hat tricks. One in Rochester and last week against Philadelphia. Dane Smith sweeping in from the far side. Scoots behind the Buffalo net. Near side is Sean Williams. Centering pass intended out in front for Aaron Wilson, but it's intercepted by Toronto, and they break immediately out to midfield. Andy, there's the sign of how quickly that defense moves, and they want to be a part of that offensive play.
Yeah, Billy Greer, Stephen Hoare, Mike Hobbins, these guys can get up the floor. Greer gets up. Great thing, though, with Buffalo Bandits, some of their offensive guys are pretty athletic themselves. Instead of getting to the box, they're getting back in the hole towards Billy Greer on that transition opportunity.
Another penalty coming up against Buffalo, a tripping call against Chad Culp. Score is tied at 1 with 9 minutes and 46 seconds left to play here in this first quarter. This is Bandits Lacrosse. I am? Wow. Check. I don't know what, if I should pump the board. Check. How's that? Check. I'm upright. I'm redlining it. Check. What? It is. How's Randy? All right.
I don't hear me though. Oh, there I am.
I'm gonna come up a little bit hotter, Joe. Is that all right? Check.
Check one.
At the conclusion of the 2012 season, Josh Simon returns already in order. He spends most of his time riding his beloved motorcycle and spending time with his granddaughter. NLL, please join me in congratulating John and Clark on behalf of the entire North American organization.
Bandits Director of Lacrosse Operations Scott Loeffler honored longtime equipment manager John Craig for his 15 years of service to the team. At the conclusion of the 2012 season, John decided to retire and is now living in Florida, where he spends much of his time riding his beloved motorcycle and spending time with his granddaughter. Congratulations to John on his retirement. On behalf of the Buffalo Bandits organization, thank you, Johnny Craig, and the best of luck to you in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to miss him, John. Especially with, if there was an equipment malfunction with the goaltenders, and I don't know if that's kind of like, okay, let's take a little bit of a quick break, but they had 30 seconds to get that malfunction corrected.
Boy, did he move on that one,
oh, he would be out the back door, down to the crease, and back to the back door in record time.
1-1 the score here in the first quarter of play from First Niagara Center. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. Joe Hinault, our producer, and Scott Fleetwood, our statistician. The Toronto Rock, Randy, back on to the power play as Culp sits in the penalty box for tripping. Garrett Billings will work the power play from the top of the slot. They work it from the outside of the line. Billings gets it back. Far side pass intercepted by Buffalo's Scott Self. And he controls the ball out of his own zone and works with Billy D. Smith to get it out to midfield. 1-1 the score here in the first quarter of play. In over the line is a fast-running Nick Cotter, deking his way from traffic area. Scoots back now, leaves it over to Luke Wiles. Couldn't hang on to, and it's picked up by the veteran Jesse Gamble for Toronto and works it out to Cam Woods, who brings it to midfield, and Troy Cordingley's crew will change up on the fly. The power play for Toronto coming into this evening's game at 52%. They went 2 for 7 last week in their win in Rochester. 2 for 7 as well in their win with Minnesota. There's Toronto's shot, saved by Cosmo. Rebound is picked up by Steve Priolo. Nice lead pass out to Mark Stainhouse, all alone in the Toronto zone. Stainhouse coming in along with Scott Self. Here's Self with a shot, and Rose comes up with a nice save. Boy, he just stands strong right there on the line, doesn't he?
Oh, he certainly does, but great feed by Stainhouse. He gets the transition. Self coming late. He throws a little flip pass. And Nick Rose, he's so big, you got to really pick those corners. He throws out the right elbow.
Bouncing ball works from the top of the slot, retrieving it back outside the line now is the veteran Blaine Manning. Now to the near side over to Garrett Billings, back to Manning from the top of the slot, far side as it goes over to Colin Doyle. Doyle feeding it back over to Billings with an over his shoulder feed. Good save by Anthony Cosmo. Bouncing ball down near into the Buffalo corner. Toronto tries to get it as the shot clock is reset, but Buffalo steals the ball. And it's Hominick getting it back out to Steve Priolo, who breaks out for Buffalo at midfield. 1-1 the score. First quarter, 5 seconds left in the penalty to Chad Culp. In over the line goes Sean Williams. Williams with the ball now near corner. 5 aside now as Culp comes fresh from the penalty box and dashes right in. Leaves it back over to Williams with the shot. Hit the goal post and goes all the way to midfield over the line and down deep into the far Buffalo corner. Over and back charge.
Yeah, you know what? There won't be an over and back charge there because of off of the pipe. Buffalo's still going to regain possession, and with a new 30-second shot clock.
Aaron Wilson working the ball far corner over to Dane Smith. Smith looking for the lane with 14 to shoot. Takes the shot, and Rose comes up with a save. They're shooting at his feet, Randy.
Oh, they certainly are, as Dane Smith said at the beginning. But Dane Smith kind of, really kind of feeling it. He toe drags around a Toronto Rock defender. Gets a good look inside, but can't put it to the short side past Nicky Rose.
Here comes Toronto down into the Buffalo zone. Feed pass out in front. Buffalo's defense is there. And, oh, man, did one of the Toronto players, Stephen LeBlanc, get hammered. And Buffalo breaks it out right back down in the Toronto zone. It's Mark Stainhouse from the far corner. Whittles with it in the webbing of his stick. Now to the near corner as Stainhouse allows everybody to get into position from the shift change and will carry out to the right point. Far side pass over to Dane Smith. Or check that, Priolo. Priolo now tipping it over to Tracy Koleski. Koleski works it from the top of the slot, looks for a shot, 8 to shoot, likes to go over to Cotter. Here's Cotter with a shot that goes wide. Rebound jumps all the way back out to midfield, and it's picked up by Priolo and swept right back down in Toronto's corner right at the 30-second shot clock. 6:13 left to play. First quarter, Bandits 1, Rock 1. And Toronto's got the ball. Casey Bearns, the goal scorer tonight for Toronto's got the ball. Fires it back over to Colin Doyle. Dips it deep into the corner as Toronto sets up the play from the top of the slot. It's Garrett Billings now rushing into the Bandit zone to the near side. Flips it back over to the top of the slot to Manning. Far side passes. It goes over to Doyle. He's checked along the way by David Brock. There's a shot to the right side of Anthony Cosmo. And the ball comes back out to mid-turf. And it'll be picked up by Nick Rose. He'll just let it go as the over. That was the official over and back charge. 9-6 shots favoring Buffalo. Score is tied at 1. Bandits get on the scoreboard with Dane Smith. Casey Byrnes for the Toronto Rock.
Yeah, there was some form of violation from the Buffalo Bandits. I didn't see it. I don't know if it was off ball or a little bit of a war, but Gardinio rewarding the Toronto Rock with the ball. That's tough. You get these offensive possessions. You want to make sure you're trying to get something to the net, something inadvertent off ball. It's kind of that waste of possession. You don't want to give Toronto, any of these extra possessions than they're really actually going to get during the game, John.
5:10 left to play here in the first quarter. 1-1. There's a shot score by Toronto.
And again, they have that 5-man grouping along with Scotty Evans. And Garrett Billings just finding Colin Doyle, who's the recipient of a double screen slip. And he just fires high to high. Amazing stick skills, quick release. And before Cosmo can get there, and as he's coming across, Doyle goes back to the side he just came from. And it's a 2-1. Toronto Rock score.
Stefan LeBlanc getting the goal from the right side. A little bit of shade there on the 7th. 17 for Stefan LeBlanc to give the Bandits or the Rock a 2-1 lead. LeBlanc scoring his 9th goal of the year. Scrambled for the ball just from the face-off circle. Creates a stoppage in play right at the Bandits line. With 4:51 left here in quarter number 1, the Rock leading the Bandits 2-1 tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
Exclusive access to everything from unlimited player stats, game night promotions, download the Bandit mobile app today. Alright, friends, now time for McDonald's Happy Meal. Keep your eye out for the menu boards to see if your section wins a coupon for a hot and can't-wait beverage at a participating McDonald's. Not a lot of sections going to win, so you can make some noise. If you want to bring in a cafe, I don't hear anybody, so I'll make some noise, people. A lot of sections going away, and who's it going to be? So far, McDonald's.
Joe, is that a little bit better?
Right. Don't forget to get your McDonald's family 4-pack. Plus, we get $9 for each door. Here's all the tickets to get the war. That McDonald's this back to the available for all families. Regular season only, including the 2013 NLL season. Get yours today at Account Services or Raiders.com.
Bandits will host Native American Night a week from tonight. That's February 9th against the Rochester Nighthawks. Special activities for the night will include traditional Native American music and dance ceremonies. And the team will honor the Six Nations Thunder Tribe team for winning the U15 National Field Lacrosse Championships at the Dick's Sporting Goods Tournament of Champions held in Tampa, Florida in December of 2012. Tonight will be highlighted by the presentation of a $1,000 scholarship to a student of Native American descent living in Western New York or Southern Ontario. The Bandits are currently accepting applications for the scholarship, which is open to any student currently enrolled at an accredited college or university. For more information, go to bandits.com. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. First quarter action at the First Niagara Center. The Toronto Rock have a 2-1 lead over the Bandits, and looking at official scoring on that Toronto goal, at the 9:13 mark, it would be 9:53 mark would be Stefan LeBlanc, and getting the assist going back over to Blaine Manning. So the Rock knocking on the door again as we resume action down on the turf, and Anthony Cosmo comes up with a nice save, and the rebound comes back down the right wing lane, and here come the Bandits. In over the line they go. Sean Williams with the ball to the near side. Goes to the far side to Wilson with a shot. Kick save by Rose, and it comes all the way back out to mid-turf. And it's picked up by the Bandits, and here they come. Right wing lane as Sean Williams goes far side over to Luke Wiles. Wiles to Tracy Koleski. Shot straight on by Chad Cope, and Rose stands strong like a pillar out there. Down the left wing lane, dash the Rock to the Buffalo line, led by former captain Chris White. Leaves it off, and he'll run to the Toronto bench. I wonder if he had to think about that first, whether he's going to run over to the Bandits bench or the Toronto bench in his familiar position that he was in for 8 years with the Bandits. Rock, Billings, nice shoulder feed over to Bierns. Over the shoulder, shot score! Colin Doyle over the shoulder.
That just comes from gritty GB work. And Josh Sanderson picks up the ground ball. Billy D. Smith comes out to get him. It comes one side, goes down low. They follow Colin Doyle coming across the top. Great ball movement. They kick it behind the back. Doyle keeps his feet, throws it behind the back. One-timer back to the far side on Anthony Cosmo. What a great goal by the veteran Doyle. And the Rock are up 3-1.
Colin Doyle averaging 5 points this year for the Toronto Rock. And that's his 5th goal of the year to give the Rock the 3-1 lead with 3 minutes and 19 seconds left to play here in this first quarter. Mike Hominick shoveling the ball back over to Chad Culp, far side, but it's picked off by Toronto's defense and swept out to midfield. There's Patrick Merrill getting hammered just outside the face-off circle at center, and Buffalo retains the ball and will work it right back to the Toronto line. Mike Hominick from the right wing side goes to the far side. In over the line is Dane Smith. He's got an open lane. Smith with a shot just blazes the left side of the Buffalo net, and Smith is hammered to the turf, and now sticks get up with Smith and Merrill. Play resumes to the near side. Chad Culp looking for an open lane. Flips it back over to Hominick with a shot, and Rose comes up nicely with a save, and the rebound to the far corner is Aaron Wilson for Buffalo. Resetting the shot clock. Ball floats out to mid-turf over to Culp. Culp to the near side. Leaves it over to Cotter. Cotter back to Culp. Far side pass now over to Dane Smith. Smith leaving outside the line to Aaron Wilson. Back over to Smith as he powers his 6'3" frame, taking the shot. And just to the right side of Rose, did not hit. Oh yes, they did reset the shot clock. Must have hit Rose to the right side in his 285-pound frame. Standing strong in front of the the Toronto net. Rock leading it 3-1. Luke Wiles with it from the slot area, takes the shot, glaces to the right side with 9 to shoot, and Toronto's got the ball and they dash out to midfield. 3-1 Toronto with 1:54 left to play here in the first quarter. Ball is left by Rob Hellier over to the offensive run of Blaine Manning. He'll tip it over to Garrick Billings. Far side pass from Josh Sanderson. Now to Billings in over the line. Back to Sanderson with his shot, and saved by Cosmo, scissoring up between his pads.
Yeah, certainly was. That one almost squeaked by on the one-timer by Josh Sanderson.
In over the line comes Buffalo into the Toronto zone. Sean Williams from the near side, trying to get away from the check of Mike Hobbins. Now you got a nice pick there by Buffalo's Derek Suddens. Wiles gets the ball. Far side over to Aaron Wilson. Here's Tracy Koleski powering his way in on Rose. He's checked off the ball. The ball goes along the inboards inside the Toronto zone. Scooped up by Wilson, now taken out of the webbing of his stick, and now picked up by Toronto. 30 seconds has expired on Buffalo, so Toronto comes back out to midfield. They lead it 3-1. The lone Buffalo scorer is Dane Smith. Casey Bierns along with Stephon LeBlanc scoring for the Rock and Colin Doyle. In over the line goes Billings. Leaves it back to the top of the slot. Far side from Bierns over to Colin Doyle. Double teamed on the play as Doyle floats it over the glass and into the crowd. And we'll stop things with 40.7 seconds remaining. Still Toronto's ball. Free dash from the right point. There is going to be a shot straight on, and that's off the stick of Scott Evans. And will that be a goal? Scissored right through the legs of Anthony Cosmo. And Scott Evans gives the Rock a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, I think Anthony Cosmo wants that one back. Scott Evans giving a great little split dodge. Gets up underneath his guy. Too much pressure extended, didn't break down. And Cosmo gets a good piece of this, and he thinks he got a trap, but all of a sudden it's over to the backside and into the net. I mean, great offensive possessions by the Toronto Rock. Something that's impressed me as you see it, the ball goes down, it comes back, it goes across, comes back, goes down. It's always moving, it's always hot, it's not getting stuck in a stick. And Scott Evans, the recipient, on a good individual dodge that took about 2 seconds. And the Rock are up by 3.
10 seconds left. The sixth attacker is out for Toronto. They want more, so accordingly calls Rose in over to the bench, and the sixth attacker has it over from the side to Casey Behrens, but that's picked up by Buffalo, and a long shot in an attempt to get an open net goal. The time has expired, and the Rock take a 4-1 lead at the end of one. Shots on goal, 14-11 Buffalo. Second quarter coming up after this timeout. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Welcome back to Buffalo Bandits.
Quarter history tonight from the First Niagara Center, downtown Buffalo. The Rock leading at 4-1. Randy, numbers.
Yeah, John. You know, the numbers, kind of a weird thing when you're looking at the numbers here. I think the big difference is really the saves by the Toronto Rock goaltender Nicky Rose. Buffalo. You know, Buffalo's, excuse me, we had a little problem there with the mic, my bad. But it really is 13 saves for Nicky Rose, 6 for Anthony Cosmo. Buffalo out shooting the Toronto Rock 14-11. You know, the loose balls, they're leading in that category, the Bandits are, 13-10. You know, but the Rock got that one power play goal. You know, what would scare me is if Buffalo wasn't getting any shots. The kicker is they had 14 quality shots. They're just not able to score against Nicky Rose. They've been putting a lot to his feet. I think, as Dane Smith said, they might want to try to think of getting a little bit closer, giving some hedge and trying to get around him, as opposed to just shooting directly to towards the feet.
Bandits will be moving left to right here in the second quarter. They're down 4-1. Dane Smith opened the scoring for Buffalo at the 132 mark. And then Toronto on a 4-goal run. They've got the ball down into the Bandit zone from the left point. Knocking on the door with 13 to shoot. Top of the slot is Josh Sanderson. Shoulder saved by Anthony Cosmo.
Yeah, and the Buffalo Bandits aren't letting anything up on Josh Sanderson. That's the third time he's gotten smoked right back down to the turf. I think it was Tracy Kaluski came across, or maybe it was Jimmy Purvis came across and made Sanderson pay. He's going to shoot. I think they maybe got a little bit of a game plan to hit Josh Sanderson.
Another Toronto shot, but Buffalo responds with the ball right back down into the Toronto zone, picked up by the defense and wheeled back out to midfield. That is picked up by Damon Edwards into the line. A running shot, but hit the goalpost. Left side of Anthony Cosmo, and Mark Stainhouse with the ball out of mid-turf. Runs right to the Toronto line and in. Scott Self blocking for him, and Stainhouse hangs onto the ball. 4-1 Toronto here in the second quarter of play. Long shot. That's labeled on by Nick Cotta. Over to Sean Williams now, and he'll slow things down, resetting that shot clock, and a chance for everybody to get into position down into the Toronto zone. Toronto in a 4-goal run, and they've got the 4-1 lead. Tracy Kelusky from the top of the slot. Aaron Wilson far side. As it's picked up, shot straight on by Sean Williams. Saved by Rose. Rebound picked up by Buffalo. And it's flipped back out to the top of the slot. Now work back over to Williams. Williams to Kelusky with the shot, and Rose again with a shoulder save. So much confidence, Randy. He makes the direction of where the outlet pass should go from his defenseman.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And he's covering those angles where it's, again, if you don't get him going side to side, he covers such a big part of the net. If you're not just totally pinpointing it, he's got a good opportunity to save it. He's got 16 saves. We're only 12 minutes in. Second quarter, Johnny.
See what goes here on this Buffalo rush. There's a shot. Score! Mike Hominick.
And I think that's that transition Darius was talking about. The Bandits get the ball up the floor quick. Hominick out the front door. He's got a little bit of an alley to actually get to the side of Nicky Rose. And he gets a good feed coming across from Wilson and goes all the way across, making Rose move. He's got to open up those big pads. And Hominick goes to the left of the left pad down low. And I think that's a better shooting percentage-wise on Nicky Rose. You got to try to get to the sides of him, try to get him to move, and Mikey Hominick might have solved the mystery.
7th goal of this season for Mike Hominick, down 1 point from 300 career points for Hominick, and brings Buffalo close. It's now 4-2 Toronto. They're knocking on the door down in the Bandit zone. Top of the slot as Colin Doyle takes the shot. Feathers off one of the defenders for Buffalo. Floats back out to the left point, and that goes over to Blaine Manning. He's pushed into the corner, and the 30-second shot clock will expire on Toronto. So here comes Buffalo. Mike Hominick scoring for the Bandits to get back on the scoreboard and stop the 4-goal run by Toronto.
And then another great defensive stand. Toronto doesn't even get anything to the net. Priolo, Suddens, and the rest of the crew doing the job on the defensive end. The Bandit offense, let's see if they can build off the momentum of a Hominick's goal.
Aaron Wilson fans on the first shot, gets the second one back in the webbing of his stick and tries to go in close to Rose, takes the shot. Rose comes up with a foot save, and the rebound picked up by Toronto, and they break down the right wing lane led by Jesse Gamble. Product out of Cornell, leading the club with 29 loose balls. Make it 30 as he brings the play right to the Buffalo line. Far side, picked up by Toronto. Scott Evans, he's hit hard into the face, and a penalty coming up against Buffalo. Centering pass on in front. Bearns with a high side, far side, but a save by Cosmo. Rebound is picked up by Colin Doyle. He feathers the ball down onto the turf, and it's picked up by Billings. Billings now leaves it to the top of the slot, back over to Doyle. Doyle deking his way in close. Turned aside, elects to go to the low pass. Score! Toronto!
Oh, and Scotty Evans, number 2. What offensive pressure by the Toronto Rock. And all start with Colin Doyle. He slips down. Everybody's attention goes to him. He kicks it back out. Returns the pass to Scotty Evans from left crease to shooter. And Evans throws a high bounce shot that goes over the shoulder of Anthony Cosmo. But I think Billy D. Smith is still going to go to the box. There was a delayed call. I think there was a high hit at once. And we're going to check to see what happens on the penalty front.
So Scott Evans scores his 5th goal of the year. Mark Giordano still over to the off-field officials indicating the penalty. We see the movement of a legal cross-check for Billy D. Smith. And will it be a 5?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out, because I think both infractions were against Scotty Evans. There was one down in that far corner where Billy D. Smith came up nice and high. Go ahead, Johnny. Let's hear it.
Let's see if we can listen in.
Number 3, Billy D. Smith. 5 minutes for an illegal cross-check and 2 minutes for slashing. Smith, Billy D. 2 minutes for slashing and a 5-minute for an illegal cross-check.
Wow, that's going to paint a bleak picture for Buffalo. They got to stand on defense now with a 5-minute major assessed on to Billy D. Smith. And again, this being the 5th game of the regular season for the Bandits, and a focus call that the National Lacrosse League officials will be calling the high stick to the head, and Billy D. Smith assessed a 5-minute major for that infraction on Scott Evans.
Yeah, they're digging themselves a hole there. I mean, there's a little bit of chippiness with Evans and Billy D. Smith. And Smith kind of came up high. Did Evans sell it a little bit? Not too sure, but it was definitely a little bit high. He's going to serve 5. You can score 3 goals on a 5-minute major now in the National Lacrosse League. And this could extend this lead to 8-2 if Toronto's able to capitalize on the power play.
Toronto with a shot that goes wide. Rebound collected outside the line. Let's see what Colin Doyle can do. Lets it over to Stephane LeBlanc. Give and go shot. Over the shoulder feed to Josh Sanderson. Now Doyle with a shot and a save by Anthony Cosmo. Toronto gets the rebound from the near corner. They lead it 5-2 here in the second quarter of play. 9:42 left. Billy D. Smith in, serving a 5-minute major. There's a shot by Sanderson over the crossbar, picked up by Buffalo's defense, and Steve Friolo breaks out. Nice pass over to Mark Stainhouse. Stainhouse in over the lines, got the ball just to the right side of Rose. Now moves in the slot, takes the shot, and Rose with a kick save. Stainhouse swipes the ball back down into the Toronto zone, resetting the shot clock. Steve Friolo all alone down into the Toronto zone. Now Stainhouse with him as Friolo comes from the near corner. Still hangs on to that ball with 24 to shoot. Plenty of time for the big defender. Rock leading at 5-2. Far side pass now to Sean Evans. Here's the Wild with a shot. Kick save by Nick Rose. Rebound, Chad Culp. Couldn't hang on to it. Culp comes back from the near side. Double teamed on the play. Takes it out of the webbing of his stick. Wiles is there. Tries to get it from the turf. Flips it back up. He can't handle it. And now Toronto's got it. Rock leading at 5-2. In over the line. Toronto with the ball. Works it down to the near side. Over to Josh Sanderson. 18 points coming into this evening's game. 5 power play goals for Sanderson. We'll work on that discipline right now as he's to the left side of Anthony Cosmo. Hangs on to the shot, goes to the top of the slot, goes to the far side. Swatted by Derek Suddens, but the ball is retrieved by Casey Behrens. Now to the near side. Stephane LeBlanc. Low drive blocked into traffic. That's going to leave a mark, and the rebound picked up by Buffalo. Feathered back over to Jay Thornburg. He's breaking out at center. Here's Thornburg with the ball. Takes the shot. Hit the goalpost left side of Rose. Rebound jumps out to midfield. 5-2 Toronto here in the second quarter of play. 7:58 left. 2:05 left in the penalty to Billy D. Smith. On the 5-minute high sticking call on Sean Evans, or Scott Evans. Colin Doyle now works the ball, and he'll take the shot. Cosmo got a piece of that one. Toronto got the rebound. Top of the slot as it goes. Over the shoulder feed from Casey Behrens. Behrens now with the ball. Top of the slot over to Garrett Billings. Billings works the ball, takes the shot, he scores!
And a nice laser by Billings. First goal of the evening, going along with a couple assists. Just pressure and pressure and pressure. And the Bandit box, Diamond rotating. But there's a little slip seal. And Billings has an easy lane. Throws a high to high over Cosmo's shoulder. Now that's 1 on the 5-minute major. Still 1:42 left on the major. Toronto can still score 2 before Billy D will come out of the box. But I thought Buffalo just, from that presence defensively, they had a good rag session, a little offensive session, tried to kill about a minute and a half. But you can't give the Toronto Rock offensive players on the man up too many opportunities, and they make Buffalo pay at least 1 goal on this major.
Garrett Billings coming into this evening's game, 2nd overall in points in the National Lacrosse League. Scores his 8th of the year. He leads the club in shots with 63. And he's now 2 points, or check that, 1 point from 200 career NLL points. And the Rock with a 6-2 lead here in the second quarter of play. They're knocking on the door again with a man advantage from the far corner. Flipping it now to the left point, now over the right point to Sanderson. There's Doyle, give and go shot, score! Toronto. Tic-tac-toe. 7-2, Rock.
And I think that one's going to go to Blaine Manning, slipping the backside. Sanderson down to the left crease. Doyle looks to the fake. We got a cutter coming through. The Buffalo backside defender's got to honor it. And Blaine Manning wide open on the backhand side. And he throws a bounce to the short before Cosmo sprawling can even get there. And it's a 7-2 score for the Rock. That cancels out the major, but now also Billy D also had a 2-minute slash at the end of the major. And he's still going to be in the box.
So the Bandits have worked themselves into a hole here in this second quarter of play with the penalties, and the Rock capitalize on it. And the 2-minute call will start with Billy D. Smith. And
well, see, here's what I think, John, is that you're allowed to score 3 goals on a major. That's only goal number 2 on that against the Buffalo Bandits, as we're going to probably go to air. So I think the referee's going to have to figure it out. Buffalo's over there. How many penalties do we have? How much time left? I think the referees are going to have a nice big little conference.
Jimmy Purvis went into the penalty box as well. They'll sort that out. Let's take this time out tonight. Here from Buffalo, with the Rock leading at 7-2 on Bandits Lacrosse.
February 24th, that translates to 6. Proceeds to the Buffalo Sabre Foundation. For more information on the register a team, visit sabres.com/Poland. It's time now to select your rewards winners of the game. Here are the Buffalo Bandits named the lucky row for being fans in winning tonight's game. Tonight's rewards go out in the section 110, 115. Congratulations. You all want to serve your silver and a hot dog. The Buffalo Bandits, thank you for being fans. All right, folks, thankfully the HD video board is time for tonight's Hooch Cam. I know we're not waiting to pass me some biscuits, right? There you go, Big Dan. Oh my gosh. She's running here. There you go. How about it, Cowboy? Nice. Oh, this guy wants to leave it back. First tip.
Play like the pros. Lacrosse clinics at First Niagara Center are back this spring for children ages 8 to 16-year-old. The clinic will run on March 9th, 23, and April 20th. The cost of each session is $59 per check, which includes instruction from the Bandits forward Tracy Koloski. 7-2, Toronto here with 6 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in this second frame. And Randy, have they sorted it out down to the off and on-field officials?
Well, I think that they're figuring it out. They still have Billy D in the box with the 2-minute penalty. That was a slash that happened after the play. Jimmy Purvis is still in the box, maybe serving the remainder of Billy D. Smith's major penalty. It's a 5-on-4 situation for the Toronto Rock. So I'm interested to see if, when the penalty expires, I'm interested to see if it's actually Purvis that comes out of the box to allow Buffalo to be, again, 5-on-5. This one's kind of not making sense to me, and maybe after the game we'll be able to get that little rectified and understand where this is all going from a referee's point of view.
Toronto so far 3 for 4 on the power play. 8 shots, goal by Casey Behrens along with Garrett Billings and Blaine Manning, and they're working the ball over to Buffalo's side now as they come down to the Toronto zone. There's a feed pass out in front. Rose with the save off the stick of Aaron Wilson, and he's frustrated to no end, slapping his stick along the inboards as Toronto comes back out to mid-turf, led by Jesse Gamble, leaving it off to Toronto's forwards. Right wing passes, it goes over to Josh Sanderson, now over to Colin Doyle. Top of the slot to a rushing Casey Behrens. There's a give-and-go shot, but it's intercepted by Buffalo's defense. Steve Priello down the left wing lane. Priello rushing in with Mark Stainhouse. Priello back over to Stainhouse. Stainhouse works the ball for Buffalo down in the Toronto zone. Bandits are down 7-2 here in the second quarter of play. Watching the shot clock tick away at 14 seconds. Stainhouse hangs onto that ball and kills more time off the penalty. Now with 55 seconds left, showing to the Billy D. Smith call. Stainhouse now with the ball, watching the clock with 3 to shoot. Stainhouse from the top of the slot, works it, long drive, scores!
And that brings the Buffalo Bandit crowd back to their feet. There's a little life in the building. Stainhouse just utilizing the 30-second shot clock. They're a man down. He's just hedging, waiting. 3 guys are on him, and all of a sudden 3 seconds on the shot clock. He just sprints, gets up over top of Doyle, does this little step back, goes high to high, and places it past Nick Rose to the top left shelf. And a huge momentum shifter and goal for the Buffalo Bandits by the veteran number 9, Mark Stainhouse.
Which is being challenged by Toronto Rock coach Troy Cordingley. And I'm sure that the shot clock had expired by the time that the goal crossed the goal line. So Mark Giordano will be to the off-field officials again, taking a look at the play. Challenged by Toronto's bench, Troy Cordingley. And Randy, we have the luxury to the right side of us to check to see on the replay if they're going to show it.
Yeah, let's see if they actually show the shot clock on the screen. Not too sure. I mean, it's a good goal. I guess the question is does it go off and in the net before the red light comes on? I don't know. It's hard to kind of see. We don't have any volume on the set that we're looking at. There's no shot clock on the countdown. Oh, maybe this is a better opportunity. We see him behind. It's got one before Stanos even takes a shot. And it's on the way. That thing, unfortunately, is at 0. The horn is off. I believe that will be called a no goal. And let's see on these referee, they got to go to the video.
Well, it was a nice move by Stainhouse.
Oh, great move.
Got to give him credit for that. Just to involve the house a little bit here, maybe show some enthusiasm over at the Buffalo bench.
I think it's going to be deflating to the Buffalo Bandit crowd as they're going to come out, and head crew chief Mark Gardino, I got to believe, is going to go no goal. And that third goal, the Stainhouse marker, will be taken away from the board. And if that's the case, I'll be 4 for 4. Just letting you know.
Here comes the on-field crew chief, Mark Giordano, with it, and he'll give the signal, no goal.
Oh, and the Bandit fans are not happy about that. He's not a well-liked guy here in Buffalo right now.
So take the 3 off for the Bandits as Stainhouse shot from the top of the slot, long. The clock went to 0 before the ball crossed the goal line, so it'll be waved off, and it'll be Toronto's ball out of their own zone.
Yep, 44 seconds left in the remainder of Billy D. Smith's slashing penalty. The Rock up 7-2.
Colin Doyle with an open lane, elects to go into traffic, flips it into the far corner, picked up by Blaine Manning. Off-ball foul will afford Buffalo with the ball, and they'll get it out of their own zone. Left wing pass now over to Mark Stainhouse. Negated on that long shot from the top of the slot just moments ago. He's got the ball into the Toronto zone. 20 seconds left in the call to Billy D. Smith. Toronto leading it 7-2 as Stainhouse hangs on to the ball. Low center of gravity for Stainhouse. Doing a nice job keeping that ball in the webbing of his stick. Here's Stainhouse now, far side pass. Over to Sean Williams to Stainhouse, and Rose got a piece of that one. Resetting the shot clock down. The scramble for the ball continues in the Toronto zone. And that's picked up by Toronto. They're back to Buffalo's back to full strength as Purvis steps out on the turf. Toronto changing up quickly on the fly from midfield, leading it 7-2 here in the second quarter of play. Working it now from the left point, Toronto. Leaving it back from the slot area, rushing in is Manning with a shot, and Cosmo comes up nicely with a save. And that stops the clock here at First Niagara Center with 4 minutes and 33 seconds left in quarter number 2. Toronto 7, Buffalo 2. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Party's 20-minute over, check it out tonight. Tracy Gillespie and a couple of minutes are offering Play Like the Pros youth lacrosse clinics here at First Niagara Center. There's going to be 3 sessions available starting in March. The cost of each session is $59 per child. Visit bandits.com to register for more information.
Bandits' next home game will be a week from tonight as the Rochester Nighthawks come to town. You might want to get here early because they're inviting you to the pregame party presented by Labatt Blue. It happens in the Lexus Club before all Bandit home games here at the First Niagara Center. Each pregame party starts at 6 o'clock and continues until face-off at 7:30. Randy, this is what you get. A buffet featuring assorted pizzas, chicken wings, nachos, and pasta, along with a drink coupon valid for one draft beer or a soft drink. Entry to the pregame party can be purchased for a $30 package that includes one 300-level game ticket, or if you've got a ticket, the buffet is for $15. For more information, you can visit First Niagara Center at bandits.com. Are you hungry yet?
Oh, that's a real good deal. Like wings and pizza would be really good right now, too.
The pregame party, week from tonight, with the Bandits hosting the Rochester Nighthawks. The Bandits have their work cut out for them here this evening.
They certainly do, but before we get that, do you like your wings medium, hot?
I'll go for medium.
You have a medium guy, too. Little blue cheese.
My wife, Mary, loves them searing hot.
Oh, that's not good.
Ooh.
That's not good in a lot of ways. There's nothing good that comes from that, John.
Dane Smith with the ball takes the shot into traffic, picked up by Toronto, and here come the Rock down the right wing lane, led by Patrick Merrill. Longtime veteran, Mercyhurst College product. Jesse Gamble works the ball now from the far side, tips it deep into the corner. That's picked up by Casey Behrens. Behrens now files it back over to Colin Doyle. Doyle tips it over to Stefan LeBlanc from the right wing side, who LeBlanc then uses the turf to get it over to the far side, over to Garrett Billings, now over to Behrens. Top of the slot to LeBlanc, back to Behrens, give and go, and that's stopped by Buffalo. Great ball movement by Toronto. Scramble for the ball continues down to the near Buffalo corner with Colin Doyle and a host of Bandit defenders, along with Stefan LeBlanc. And now Buffalo breaks out immediately with Mike Hominick coming in across the Toronto line with a vapor trail. Dane Smith. Smith with the ball in front of Rose, leaves it far side, takes the shot, and that's off the stick of Hominick, goes wide, picked up by Toronto, and here they come running back out to the right wing side and approaching the Buffalo line, leading at 7-2 here in this second quarter of play. 3:17 remaining. Toronto far side is Scott Evans to the left point as it's tipped over to Casey Behrens. Now to the far corner as Blaine Manning tips it back over. Now to the near side to Stefan LeBlanc. LeBlanc works it in close. Shoveling move. Forces Buffalo to take that ball away, and it's picked up by Jimmy Purvis. He's got a breakaway for Buffalo. Here comes Purvis face to face to Rose. Takes the shot, and Rose comes up with a big save.
Huge save by Rose. That could have been a nice momentum shifter for the Bandits. Purvis flies by the Rock offensive player, gets that breakaway, but I think he would have been called in the crease. He was kind of tiptoeing through the tulips, got a little too close on Nicky Rose.
Toronto knocking on the door. Casey Burns with a shot. The rebound collected by Toronto again. That's blocked by Buffalo. Good defense by the Bandits down in their own zone here in the second quarter of play, where the Rock hold a 7-2 lead. They've got the ball. It's worked from the top of the slot. Here's Doyle with a shot. Saved by Cosmo. And the veteran netminder for Buffalo makes the outlet pass out to midfield. In over the line comes David Brock. Here's Brock with a shot. He scores! Brock.
The fans needed it. The team needed it. The staff needed it. David Brock got transition. The Kilgores were talking before the game. He just flies down the field. It's a 4-on-1. And he goes high to low through the pads of Nicky Rose. Great shot. And you can kind of feel a little sense of urgency amongst the crowd. It's 7-3. They're still in the game, but you got to get some positive energy, momentum. The last couple of shifts on the defense, been doing great. Cosmo making some big saves off of all that sharp passing. The Buffalo Bandits just got to start burying their opportunities. And Brock, maybe he opens the floodgate.
Buffalo knocking on the door again with Mike Hominick taking a shot. Rose coming up with the save, and the rebound is collected by the Rock, and they come back storming with 1:43 left to play here in this second quarter, leaving it now 7-3. David Brock eclipsing his point total of his career in the National Lacrosse League with that goal. His fourth of the season. Saved by Anthony Cosmo again. Rebound comes back out for Buffalo, and Steve Priolo brings the Bandits over to the Toronto line. 1:24 left to play here in the second quarter. Toronto leading at 7-3. Luke Wiles outside the line to the near side of it to Tracy Kelusky. Kelusky working the ball, getting a nice block away. Now going to pass it over to Williams. There's a shot by Wilson. That's blocked off the pad of Nick Rose and goes all the way down into the Buffalo zone with 1:03 left on another rush for Buffalo now, trying to get back into this game. Oh, you're right, Randy. The crowd just came alive on that David Brock goal.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to cheer about for the last 10 minutes with all the penalties.
Buffalo knocking on the door again. There's the shot. Score! Nick Cotter!
Great shot by the youngster. Nick Cotter using a screen by Sean Williams. He kind of looks like he's going to shoot. Gives a little hedge fake, another hedge fake, steps back and buries a blister as he gives a little look off. As Sean Williams slips, nobody goes to him, and he buries high to high from in tight. It's 7-4. How quickly it changes, Johnny.
So with 38 seconds remaining here in this second quarter, Buffalo with the ball in over the Toronto line. It's Mark Stainhouse from the near corner. Stainhouse scoots out down behind the Toronto net, reverses his position, comes back out from the slot area from Rose, takes the shot, just glazes to the left side of the Toronto net. Rebound is picked up by Mike Hoffman, back over to Stainhouse. He scores!
And a great play and a great GB off of the shot. The Bandits regain possession, find Stainhouse all alone. He didn't quit on the play. He comes rotating all the way around. He gets a couple of seals. He gets a good shot off. Second man opportunity. A great GB, and where's Stainhouse? Hamanuk finds him. He's all alone. That's 3 goals in almost a minute. And the Buffalo Bandits, just like that, are right in the game. 27 seconds left. And they're going to have an opportunity to pull the tender and try to bring it within 1.
Got a shot away with there with 3 seconds left, and a long drive by Nick Rose. Jumps over the crossbar. And with no time left on the clock, Toronto tried in vain to get that empty net goal scored, but couldn't do it. And folks, we're at halftime. 7-5 Toronto, and Buffalo is coming back. Big run by Buffalo to the help of Mike Hoffman, who does score his 200th NLL point on his setup tonight here for the first half, getting Buffalo back into this game. 2 goals in 27 seconds, 7-5 Buffalo. Boy, Randy, they're going to carry enthusiasm into that dressing room. The question will be, can they bring it back out after the 17-minute break? Halftime. We'll be back after this timeout on Bandits Lacrosse.
Bandits and Bandits Brigade, the Division Bank Club of the Buffalo Bandits is having a banquet tonight. Proceeds of the banquet will be donated to the Karate Club of Western New York. Visit the brigade and get a coffee table with the Western Pavilion food. Raffle information and find out how you can support the Buffalo Bandits on the road. Come by and meet the Buffalo Bandits Brigade. Bandit fans, come to welcome our youth lacrosse to the field. These are the customers for Tomahawks and the Colorado Braves. Welcome to the field. Big round of applause for the Little Ones.
Yes, yes. Wait, slow down. Joe, slow down. What do you got now? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's Dane Smith right at the beginning. And then 7-3, David Brock. 7-4. Well, it goes to Cotter. Nick Cotter. Would have made it 7-4? Or do you have Stainhouse at 14-42? Yeah. So scratch the Cotter goal. Okay. So no Cotter go. Okay.
Clear space here.
Hey, Steve. Put that headset on. See if you can hear me. Sometimes we're having a short. I know it. Halftime here at First Niagara Center with the Toronto Rock holding a 7-5 lead, but the Buffalo Bandits are coming back strong, taking a lot of enthusiasm into the dressing room, and certainly will bring it onto the turf for the second half of play. Buffalo got on the scoreboard first of this evening's game at the 1:32 mark. Dane Smith scoring for the Bandits, his 9th goal of the year. Nothing Buffalo at the time. Give the credit for the assist going to Nick Cotter and also Sean Williams, but Toronto mounts the attack, and boy, they did it big time with a 4-goal run, taking a 4-1 lead into the second quarter of play. Buffalo manages to get on the scoreboard at 2:26 on Mike Hominick's shot there. Nice goal by Hominick. The assist going to Aaron Wilson and also David Brock, who is having a great night so far. Toronto then goes on a 3-goal run to take a 7-2 lead, and then knocking on the door at 12:50, it was David Brock to give the Bandits a much-needed goal. Anthony Cosmo gets the assist on that goal officially at 12:50, 7-3 Toronto. Buffalo then goes on a run, part of a 3-goal run at 14:15. Nick Cotter scoring, and then 27 seconds later, guess who? Mark Stainhouse. Great shot by Mark Stainhouse, his 4th goal of the year. Buffalo right back into this game, 7-5 at halftime. The assist going to Mike Hominick. Shots on goal here tonight for the Buffalo Bandits and Toronto Rock, all locked up at 26 each. What a game. Great to have you with us here on the radio tonight at halftime at the First Niagara Center. Again, with the Rock leading at 7-5. Steve Bermel, part of our halftime festivities. A gentleman who writes for IL Indoor, has his own radio show, and we love to have him on a regular basis to get his perspective of this crazy game of indoor lacrosse. And tonight, no different. No different at all. Good to have you with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, John.
What do you think so far of this game?
Well, it just proves the point that we've kind of seen all year. The Bandits need to play 5-on-5. They're a great team. They can run with anybody on the floor 5-on-5. It's when they get into penalty trouble, especially with majors, that they put themselves behind the 8 ball.
Steve Bermel with us here at halftime with the Rock leading at 7-5. Predictions here for the second half. We'll give the listeners an opportunity from your perspective of watching the game. And again, knowing the fact that the Bandits can play with anybody 5-on-5, that's just what they need to do, is stay out of the box. But certainly move that ball nicely and try to shoot low on Rose.
Yeah, both teams move the ball real well, and I noticed the low shooting too, for sure. And a couple of long goals. I mean, Stainhouse gets called back on the shot clock violation, but both he and Dane scored from long range, and Buffalo seems to be getting more offensive rebounds than normal today. It seems like they're getting a lot of balls off the glass and the post.
What do you think so far of the style of play from the National Lacrosse League going into this 2013 season. Everybody involved in the 9-team loop.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You know, there used to be a few teams, I won't name any of them, but they'd come into Banditland and you kind of would know that it might be an easy W. That doesn't happen at all anymore. I mean, you don't see, there's no pushovers in the league. There's no game that you come into and, you know, you can take for granted as a win for Buffalo.
Noticing the changes as you have the last couple of 3 years, Steve, what's been significant in your mind of the big change of this indoor game?
I love the speed that they even improved what was already the fastest game, not needing to wait for the referee to touch the ball on a restart. And, you know, a live ball off the mesh, if it goes out of play and you scoop it, it's alive. And the speed of the game, they keep finding ways to improve it. And that's certainly this game's most exciting aspect, is how quickly, you know, there is no holding up and waiting. The transition is encouraged, and it's just so exciting to see.
Halftime here at the First Niagara Center with the Toronto Rock hanging on to a 7-5 lead. Buffalo currently on a 3-goal run. 2 of the goals in 27 seconds to get Buffalo back into this game. Thought for a minute, Steve, that the crowd was so far out of it in the early goings of the second quarter. Really didn't know which way to take it because, again, of the deflating penalties for Buffalo that they were taking, but for the fact that the crowd just kind of felt like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, for sure, and I think maybe the Bandits felt that way too. Nick Rose was making a whole lot of saves, especially in the first quarter, and I kind of thought one of two things could happen. They either could get discouraged and think, boy, we're going to have a hard time beating this guy all night, or the shots might start falling. And it seems like just from that last little run that the shots are falling, and they've carried a whole lot of momentum into the locker room.
Halftime here at the First Niagara Center. Rock leading at 7-5. Steve Bermel of IL Indoor with us here as our guest. Your thoughts of the Western Division? Well, I tell you what, the Calgary team is just unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's you know, especially with the crossover format in the East, you have to keep a closer eye on it because of the potential crossovers with 8 teams making it of the 9, and just more proof of how tight things can be and how wrong you can be to predict at the beginning of the year. You know, you never can expect teams to be where they are 3 or 4 weeks into the season, it seems, looking at Rochester especially, right?
Were you surprised the way that Washington came out of the gate in the 2013 season?
You know, I feel like they had something to play for, having been the one team to miss it last year, right? You know, they were the odds-on favorite to go all the way, and they were the one team to miss the playoffs last year. So they definitely had a chip on their shoulder, and they have a real good club over there that's been a force for years and years. So really not surprised to see them come out and play as well as they did.
Seeing a lot of talent tonight, not only for the Buffalo Bandits, but also for the Toronto Rock. Just an amazing abundance amount of talent with Garrett Billings and Stephane LeBlanc, a mixture that they're so hard to stop. But the fact that they've played so long together, they know exactly where they are on the floor.
Yeah, they move the ball so well. I don't think we've seen a team come into Buffalo yet and move the ball as well as Toronto have. Fortunately, Cosmo looks to be able to move with it. He's been over, a couple of nice cross-crease saves on some quick ball movement, but look at Doyle's goal behind the back on a great feed. I think it was from Billings, and it's just amazing to watch them move the ball. They put on a clinic.
What do you think of the future of the game, Steve, from your perspective? Anything that you hear of expansion or an opportunity for the league to grow its roots outside this fine territory of indoor lacrosse?
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot, of course, as the league. You know, we thankfully haven't seen any teams bow out in the last few seasons, which is certainly a big plus. But I think a key part to the marketing is having a hockey club own the team, and that's not the only way it would work. Washington's figured it out with a smaller market and a smaller arena. They've kind of found a niche up there in the Northwest, but I think that for most teams, I think the NHL ownership gives them the stability they need, the advertising they need, the support they need. But then again, you look at Rochester with Kurt Stiers and what he's doing, and it's tough to find success, but I definitely think the league needs to expand, and I think it will within the next few years.
Now, you have a radio show midweek that gives you an opportunity to talk to a lot of the players. Where can the fans hear your show?
Oh, that's right on NLL.com under the multimedia tab. The show is called Bandits Beat. Once a week we have a Bandits player on as a guest, or a coach or someone from the organization on, and it's just a great opportunity for me to kind of get an idea what they're feeling after the week before, and always previewing the game coming up. So that's right on NLL.com under the multimedia tab.
And that would be, what day is it available for our listeners?
Friday afternoons is when it comes up.
Steve Bermel, a part of our halftime here at First Niagara Center, with the Toronto Rock leading the Buffalo Bandits 7-5. Steve, in your covering of the personality of the Bandits, we had Dane Smith on our pregame show as our Reebok player profile. Very well-spoken young man.
Yeah, we've talked to him a few times after the game. It's interesting, when we've interviewed him, he's always got a grin on. You know he's excited to be here. It's an authentic excitement. You know, it's not the typical ho-hum, I'm playing a sport that I love. He just oozes with excitement to be out on the floor with the Bandits, and also it helps when you're producing. It makes it easier to smile, right?
What about the personality of the Bandits club? Always have been a very colorful team, but has always had a great personality inside the room. Have you sensed that this year with the mixture of players that they have on the roster?
Yeah, and Luke Wiles mentioned it, that there's a different type of camaraderie in the locker room, a good mix of youth and older folks that have played longer. He calls them the old guys. I'm getting caught using his words. He calls them the old guys, and I keep warning him he's going to be an old guy soon. But he talked about the camaraderie and the locker room presence, and guys like John Tavares speaking up more as the captain. But I think the attitude on the floor is right where it needs to be as far as look at tonight's game. They're not going to lay down. They're not going to be beat easily, and they've got an attitude about their game that we haven't seen in a few years.
Who's been the biggest surprise for you on the Bandits club?
I have to say, to be honest, Sean Williams, because the first game he played, I'm like, what did he do tonight? And I look at, he had 5 assists. Like, he is a guy that can move the ball on the left side that complements John Tavares well in a game where you're missing John Tavares. We always knew that Sean Williams was a great player, but watching him play and looking at the score sheet afterward, it's like, wow, he really makes an impact. And it's amazing to say that his play surprises me because he's such a great player, but he makes a bigger impact than one might think.
Bandits on a roll here, getting ready for the third quarter of play. They're on a 3-goal run to get back into this game, 7-5. We'll be back with the third quarter after this timeout. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, John.
Broadcast continues tonight from Buffalo, the First Niagara Event Center. This is Bandits Lacrosse. You going to take the 3 minutes? No, where are you? Second? This is the last minute? Just bring it to us after this one. Thank you.
Welcome back here to Buffalo Bandits.
Seven to 5. Toronto. Halftime is over, and we're ready for the third quarter of play. Randy, with your experience in the National Lacrosse League and trying to get on back into this game, what was said in the dressing room?
Well, probably.
You think?
I think probably a lot of things. One, hey, you know what? You should feel happy that we were able to crawl back in. We had that great resolve, good spurt there at the end. We got to start burying our shots. It's not like they haven't had any opportunities, but again and again and again, we got to stay out of the box, boys. We got 11 minutes in penalties. Toronto's got 0. They went 3 for 4. That's the difference in the game. You know, and you're going to take penalties in a game. It's going to happen, you know. But make them good penalties. Let's not take stuff that, is it cheap? Is it not? You know, but you got to just stay out of the box. You got to be disciplined, especially against these guys from Toronto Rock. I mean, you watch the ball movement with Doyle and LeBlanc and Billings. I mean, these guys go tick, tick, tack, toe. You don't want to give them too many opportunities, and that's the difference in the game. Good part is, you know what? We got a whole another 30 minutes. We're only down by 2. We need good goaltending, tighter D. We got to start burying our opportunities because we're still in the game.
Third quarter action underway. Bandits will be moving right to left here in this third quarter. In over the line, Toronto controlling the ball. Long shot, hit the goal post right side of Anthony Cosmo. That off the stick of Colin Doyle. Regrouping back out at midfield. Toronto again with the attack down into the Buffalo zone. Near side is Casey Byrnes. Works it to the far side over to Colin Doyle. Doyle now tips the ball into the traffic area, and it's picked off by Rob Hellyer. Now worked back over to Billings. Billings in the traffic line. Sets it up over to Blaine Manning. He gets a couple of swats from a Buffalo defender. Manning looking to get the ball with 5 to shoot. Works it from the long side, and that's off the stick of Rob Hellyer and cleared back out by Buffalo.
And you'll take those shots. Rob Hellyer running away from the net from about 40 feet. Great defensive stand. Cosmo almost kind of got surprised by that, able to get those little pinstripes together. It doesn't go in the net, but that's the defense the Buffalo Bandits need to perform throughout this second half.
7-5, Toronto here in the early goings of this third quarter of play. Buffalo currently on a 3-goal run, 2 goals in 27 seconds to ignite the comeback. Right now they've got to go to defensive mode as Toronto's got the ball down deep into the near Buffalo corner. Ball comes back out off the stick of Scott Evans. Far side pass now as it's set up for Toronto. Casey Byrnes on the scoreboard tonight. Feathers the ball over to Sanderson. Sanderson tipping the ball over to Byrnes. Now it's picked up by Colin Doyle. Now to Evans. Evans, who's stationed at the left point, goes all the way over to the far side of the right point. Feed pass out in front with 7 to shoot. Loose ball picked up by Buffalo.
And there was
I believe there was a crease violation.
Yeah, there was an interference call off ball, which was lucky because Josh Sanderson found himself all alone in front of the net, but Gardinio calling the interference with the big whistle. Buffalo gets away with one there.
Well, the Bandits throwing their bodies around down into the Toronto zone, doing the forechecking, and it's led by Luke Wiles. But Toronto comes up with the ball. Jimmy Purvis after the ball as well. And an 8-second shot clock violation on Toronto, so that gives you the impression of the type of forechecking that Toronto was doing.
And I think the Toronto Rock are going to go into the box. Buffalo going to get their first power play again, being disciplined. Number 9, Patty Merrill, the veteran. He's going to serve 2 for delay of the game. There was the 8-second clock, but he had the ball already in the offensive zone, so he just chucked it in the corner.
This is Buffalo's first power play of the game, and they've got to get back into it. They're on a 3-goal run, and now they've got the man advantage here in this third quarter. Down 7-5. Shot near side of Rose, comes up big with the ball. Rebound is picked up by Tracy Kelusky after the shot by Aaron Wilson. Kelusky getting it back over to Sean Williams, who works the top of the slot into the power play. Chad Cope with the ball. Back over to Williams from the slot area. Far side. There's a drive by Wilson. And got hit by Nick Rose. And it'll be Bandits' ball as it hit the high netting. Bandits right back into it down in the Toronto zone. From the top of the slot is Williams. Williams now over to Aaron Wilson, to Tracy Kelusky. Kelusky changes his position, back over to Chad Cope. Cope over the shoulder feed to Hominick. Trying to feed it back out to Kelusky. Picked up by Williams. There's a shot by Wilson. He scores! Wilson!
Very good ball movement by the Buffalo Bandits. And Aaron Wilson, the recipient, he goes high to low between the pads of Nicky Rose. And I'm going to say this one was really like a tic-tac-toe because it was kind of an inadvertent pass. But Sean Williams, ever present, picks up the loose ball, and he's looking for a feed. 2 Buffalo defender or offensive players in the middle. Aaron Wilson on the backside. Great feed by Shawnee Williams. And Aaron Wilson makes no mistake. 1 for 1 on the power play, and the Bandits are down by 1. They're back in this game.
Matching Toronto's goal run in tonight, a 4-goal run by Buffalo, now down by 1, 7-6. Toronto with the ball, working it as Garrett Billings, shot wide of the Buffalo net. Rebound back out to midfield, picked up by Colin Doyle. Doyle leaving it right to the top of the slot. The shot wide by Rob Hellyer. That hits the sideline boards, and it's picked up by Buffalo on the 30-second shot clock violation. And it'll be cleared out out now by Hayden Smith. Tips it over to Dane Smith. Far side pass is Williams from Stainhouse, a part of this rush. Here's Williams striking in on Rose, but inside the crease area. Rose scissoring it up with his pads, and Toronto wastes little time to get out of the zone, led by the veteran Sandy Chapman. Tipping it out to Damon Edwards for Toronto. Feeding the ball now over to Scott Evans. In over the line to Casey Behrens from the near Buffalo corner. Behrens now to Billings. Billings far side pass. Back to Billings. Back to the top of the slot. Near side as it's picked off by Josh Sanderson. Sanderson to Stefan LeBlanc. To Billings. Billings hanging on with 4 to shoot. Feed pass intended for Sanderson. Goes into the far Buffalo corner and it's picked up by the Bandits. And here they come back out to midfield. 7-6 Toronto here in the third quarter of play. 10 minutes and 31 seconds remaining. Buffalo works it to the line to the right wing side as Mike Hominick on the scoreboard tonight. Chad Culp with the ball. Feeding it back over to Aaron Wilson. Stretching is Tracy Kelusky to the far side. Back over to Culp. Here's Culp with a shot. A save by Aaron Wilson. Hit the high netting, so it'll be Buffalo's ball again. Good pressure by Buffalo down in the Toronto zone as Hominick brings the ball back to the line to the far side over to Luke Wiles. Wiles now to Tracy Kelusky. Kelusky eluding a check from Cam Woods. Kelusky hanging onto the ball. Feeds it over to Mike Hominick with a shot over the shoulder, and Rose comes up big with that one. Rebound picked up by Toronto, and down the left wing lane comes Jesse Campbell in over the line with a full head of steam. Attacking now is Billy D. Smith. Also, Chad Culp doing his job by forcing that play back out to midfield. What a job by Chad Culp. 9:44 left to play here in the third quarter. 7-6 Toronto. They're struggling down into the Bandit zone. Stefan LeBlanc back for it out at midfield. Makes a big arcing turn, fires it over to Billings with a shot. Shoulder save. Rebound picked up by Toronto over the shoulder. Shot wide. Rebound to the left side of the Buffalo net, and Stainhouse is there. Checked on the play, but gets it out of his own zone. Got about 4 seconds to get back out to midfield. Does so successfully, and here come the Bandits on the rush. Scott Self is with him. Williams in the corner. Couldn't hang on to it. It comes back out to midfield. Picked up by Damon Edwards, stolen by Luke Wiles, and here comes Wiles into the Toronto zone. Wiles with the ball from the slot area, hanging on to it, getting everybody into position with 10 to shoot. Wiles now over to Williams. Williams working the ball to the far side over to Dane Smith. Here's Smith with a shot, hit the goal post, left side of Rose. Rebound collected by Buffalo, and the shot clock is reset. 7-6 Toronto here in the third quarter of play. Bandits knocking on the door with the ball into the far corner, carried out by Aaron Wilson. Now over to Williams. Penalty coming up against Toronto. Here's Sean Williams. Back over. There's a shot by Smith. Saved by Rose. Rebound. Aaron Wilson from the far Toronto corner. Here's Aaron Wilson with a shot. Rose with another save. Rebound picked up by Toronto, and another rock penalty coming up. So the Bandits will have the man advantage when we come back. They're down by 1, 7-6. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Sometimes the Sabres score powered by Raymond Pioneer. Leading scorers for the overtime hockey store, the winner of the 17-5. And check out the new meeting cardboard cowboy hats. Tonight, save $10 off regular price of purchase. Amanda's cardboard hat for just $19 plus tax. Sabres scores everybody from running from 10 to 5. Here call. Sabre and home games. All right, folks, now time for a game we like to call Buffalo Bluff. We're in section 304, 305. You can see Rax up there helping us out. And we got a contestant, Patrick. Everybody say hi to Patrick. Patrick, you answered this trivia question correctly. You're going to win some tickets next week's game against Bandits. Here is your question. Which Buffalo Media players scored a hat trick during last season's home opener against the Toronto Rock? Was it A, Luke Wiles, or B, Mark Stainhouse? A or B? Thanks, Ribbon. A or B? You're thinking A.
Come bowl with the Sabre players, alumni, and more at the Sabres Bowl-O-Rama on Sunday, February 24th at Transit Lanes from 2 to 6. Proceeds will benefit the Buffalo Sabres Foundation. For more information or to register a team, visit sabres.com/bowling. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening here in downtown Buffalo at the First Niagara Center. Joe Hanault, our producer, and Scott Fleetwood, our statistician. Randy, what a game.
Oh, it's a great game. But you can kind of sense the momentum shift in Buffalo. 4 straight goals, the only one in this second half. But they've gotten a lot of rubber to the net of Nick Rose, so you kind of feel that momentum shifted. Damon Edwards takes an off-ball hold. He's going to serve 2 for the Toronto Rock. Buffalo going to go on their second power play of the evening. And just a kind of another stat, the last 4 offensive possessions for the Toronto Rock, they didn't really create any kind of substantial offense on the Buffalo Bandit defense. So you can see that defensive presence of the Bandits keeping Toronto way outside. And you see the crowd getting into it. You feel it. This momentum might have switched, especially if they get one here on the power play.
Bandits knocking on the door, the right side of the Toronto net. Rebound is picked up now behind the end boards by Culp. He'll use the carpet to get it over into the corner. And we have a little bit of an infraction affording the Buffalo Bandits the ball. So it'll go back to the top of the slot by Luke Wiles, who works the power play. Now to the near side of it is Sean Williams, back over to Wiles. Wiles, far side, over to Dane Smith, back to Wiles. Near side to Williams with a shot, and Rose comes over the same rebound. Oh, went over the crossbar. Goes to the far boards and comes back out to mid-turf. Shot clock reset, 22 to shoot. Buffalo staging the power play. Down by 1 as Williams works it to the top of the slot to Wiles with the shot. Right side of Rose. Rebound, Dane Smith from the near corner. Now to Wiles. Now to Williams. Far side is Dane Smith with a shot blocked by Rose, and he's got it in the webbing of his stick and looks to make the outlet pass. As Tracy Koleski does some forechecking, but Toronto comes up with it. Patrick Merrill has got the ball and flips it back over to Casey Byrnes. Working on the penalty kill, 49 seconds left in the call to Damon Edwards. 7-6 Toronto with 7:07 left to play here in this third frame. End of the line is Stefan LeBlanc. Double teamed on the play, loses control of the ball. Good defense by Jay Thornburg. In there to help from the far corner is Buffalo. Working it out is Wilson, or check that. Glenn Bryan, former Toronto Rock. 23 seconds left in the penalty to Toronto. 7-6 Rock. Top of the slot is Williams. That's blocked off the defense of Toronto and picked up and cleared back out by Sandy Chapman for the full head of steam as the veteran comes to the Buffalo line. He's checked down to the turf. Good play by Mike Hominick, forcing it back out to center. Now to the near side as Manning's got an opening. Coming into the Buffalo zone. The Rocker now back to full strength. Leading at 7-6 with 6:18 remaining here in the third quarter. Rock now with the ball. It's Blaine Manning. He's got a room, takes the shot. Cosmo comes up with a nice save and looks for the immediate outlet pass over to Jimmy Purvis. Here's Purvis into the line with Mark Stainhouse with the shot. Left side of Rose. Rebound. To the near boards. Purvis diving with it. Taking it away from one of the Toronto defenders. That's Jesse Gamble. Also in there is Mark Stainhouse. And now a host of Bandits slapping at the ball. And hang on. We're going to get the ball over to Buffalo.
8-second violation. Great help by Purvis and Stainhouse. 3-on-1 on the board. Toronto had possession. Couldn't get the ball over the midfield line. Buffalo, great hustle to regain this possession.
Sean Williams with the ball, takes the shot left side of Nick Rose. Did not hit him, so 9 to shoot. Williams has got the ball back. He's at the right point. Far pass as it goes over to Luke Wiles. Wiles with the ball, being double teamed on the play. 1 to shoot. Wiles with a shot wide.
Yeah, that didn't miss by much. That was a low to high riser from about 7 feet out. Wiles going for the short side. Rose covering all the angles. There was no place for that thing to go other than just above the net.
Buffalo on a 4-goal run. Rock leading it 7-6, and they've got control of the ball. Garrett Billings with an opening. Likes to go back to the slot area over to Evans. Near side pass over to Casey Byrnes. He couldn't get the shot away. Double teamed on the play. The loose ball picked up by goaltender Anthony Cosmo and tipped over to Derek Suttons. Suttons now with the ball. Right wing pass. Over to Smith. Hayden Smith. Tips the ball in over the line to Nick Cotter. Cotter on the scoreboard on that surge in the closing minutes of the first half. Tips the ball back to the top of the slot. Shot, score! Aaron Wilson.
Nick Rose shaking his head. That one, you got to be good to be lucky or lucky to be good. I'm not too sure. goal number 2 for Aaron Wilson. He was at about 55 feet out. Cotter draws a lot of attention. He kicks it back out to the top. And Wilson throws like a sidearm low shot. It goes off the glove of Nicky Rose and trickles into the net. We're all knotted up at 7. 19 minutes total left in this game.
Oh, just like this fast one, and Toronto comes right back off the stick of Rob Marshall to get a goal right from the draw. And Toronto back up on top now, 8-7. That's how quickly this game changes.
Real quick. You know, you get all this momentum, they feel good, everybody's on their feet, nobody's in their seats. And the next thing you know, they win the face-off, Marshall goes down, nobody picks him up. And it's probably the same type of thing. Anthony Cosmo would love to get that one back. Marshall just beats him on the run. And all of a sudden you feel that deflation of the crowd, the energy, Johnny.
Second goal of the season for Rob Marshall. 8th year with the Toronto Rock, and gives his club the 1-goal lead. And Buffalo with the ball into the Toronto zone here. Stainhouse with a shot. Rose comes up with a kick save and comes up with the ball with an outlet pass down the left wing lane. In pursuit of the ball is Sean Williams doing his job, whacking it down to the turf, and Williams has got it down the webbing of his stick and twiddles it over the line. Here's Williams with an open lane, takes the shot high over the crossbar of Toronto. Rebound, Tracy Kolesky. Slows the forces down and gets everybody into position. It's Williams to the near side. Jimmy Purvis from the corner digs himself back out, tries to get a shot away, and Purvis has to get it back in the webbing of his stick. He is mauled by a couple of Toronto players, loses control of the ball, and that's cleared back out by the Rock. 8-7 Toronto with 3:32 remaining here in the third quarter. Toronto and Buffalo changing up on the fly. The front door opens up for Toronto and outruns Garrett Billings. He's got the ball along with Blaine Manning. And his partner in crime, Colin Doyle, with a shot. Score! Toronto! And that one's going to go to Stephen LeBlanc.
And he makes no mistake. He goes low to low on Cosmo. The second slide can't get there. As Buffalo defense, you really try to force a guy down a side, but the Toronto Rock, in that case, were able to get the ball from one side of the floor to the other side of the floor. LeBlanc's got that open spot. One guy's playing two. By the time the Buffalo defender can get there, the ball's already out of LeBlanc's stick, low to low. Great shot. And the Rock are back up by 2.
A mini run for Toronto.
Ouch.
Goes by Rob Marshall. And Stefan LeBlanc. Here comes Buffalo with a shot straight on. Dane Smith stopped by Nick Rose. He outlets it down the left wing lane over to Jesse Gamble, who brings it outside the Buffalo line. Gamble now over to Patrick Merrill. Merrill tips it over to Casey Behrens. Pressure on by Mike Hominick before he scoots off. It forces Buffalo's defense to get on. Shot wide by Garrett Billings. Rebound jumps all the way back out across the line. It'll be an over and back charge, and loose ball picked up by Purvis, but hang on. Play is stopped with 2:34 remaining here in this third quarter. The Rock leading it 9-7 tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
NLL Network, NLL.com is your home for the live broadcast of every NLL game. You can watch the games live on your PC, laptop, iPad, mobile phone, and on TV. Watch the games anywhere. And take the NLL Network wherever you go, wherever you get it, every night. All right, Bandit like it's time to play a little game that we call That's What He Says. Presented by Cobblestone Matches with our contestants. You check out the big screen. We've got Jay and Kyle. Which one's Jay? Jay, where are you? There's Jay, the other one must be Kyle. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys a quick call. We're going to have an imitate you. That's the one. It's going to win some Bandit gear, some tickets to the next Bandit home game. Guys, ready? Here we go, Jay. We're going to go first. It's Whose House? Whose House? Not bad, Jay. Not bad, Kyle. Whose House? Tough one, folks. What do you think? You need your help. I'm going to think Jay, number 1.
Join us for the Miller Lite post-game party at the Cobblestone after every home game. Don't miss out on the opportunity to hang out with your favorite Bandit players and Bandits, and a chance to win an autographed Bandits jersey and a pair of tickets to the next home game. The party is 21 and over. You can check it out tonight. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. Third quarter, 2:34 remaining. 9-7 Rock. And we'll resume down on the turf with Buffalo on an opportunity to control that ball. Randy, what do they need to do to get into this game and a sequence of passes to beat goaltender Nick Rose?
Well, I think, they gotta get the ball to the net, but they gotta get Nick Rose moving side to side, or they gotta pick their spots. It's not like they're not getting shots. They've gotten 15 shots this quarter, but Nick Rose, he's coming out. If you're going for our side, he steps with the shot, got that big stick up in between his legs, and it's hard to get there. I mean, again, 6 foot 285, he covers a lot of it. But I think you got to just keep on shooting. You got to keep on shooting, quick ball movement, get the ball side to side. And if you can get one, you can bury one, you're going to get this crowd back into it, and then anything's going to happen if you can get that momentum back.
Sean Williams controls the ball. Feed pass out in front, intended for Chad Culp. He's tackled down to the turf, and a penalty coming up against Toronto. So the third power play goal, or power play opportunity coming up for the Buffalo Bandits.
And that's going to be Damon Edwards. He's going to serve a second minor. He had a minor earlier in this quarter for a hold. He's going to serve 2 for a trip. And Buffalo's going to go on their third power play of the evening, and a chance to bring themselves back within one of this strong Toronto Rock team.
If you just joined us on the radio broadcast tonight, John Tavares is not playing. Sean Williams will quarterback the power play from the top of the slot on this rush. Shot wide by Tracy Koleski. The rebound comes back outside the line, but Buffalo has it. Williams' pass is intercepted by the Rock, and the penalty-killing crew will come back out to midfield. They lead at 9-7 with 1:51 remaining here in the third quarter. Stephen Hoare with the ball for Toronto. Casually back out at midfield as Toronto looks to kill the penalty off of Damon Edwards. They've got the 2-goal lead. Bandits on a 4-goal run before Toronto got on the scoreboard here in the second half to come within 1, but now Toronto's struck heavy with Rob Marshall, and they score again.
No, they're going to say no. Wow, that was close. Cosmo thought it was squeaking through. It might have. Got a good angle from up here in the press box, but he flopped like I don't even know, like a flounder or something.
Thought he carried that ball over the line.
But Gardenia right on the goal line saying no goal. Good break for the Bandits.
54 seconds left in the power play for Buffalo. Sean Williams to Chad Culp. Culp far side shot, score! Hat trick for Aaron Wilson. How about that tic-tac-toe?
Oh, you gotta love the tic-tac-toe. The hat trick for the former Toronto Rock offensive star. But again, that's the Buffalo Bandit-owned tic-tac-toe. We go from Sean Williams, who gets up over to the backside, over to Culp, who one-touches it from the left shooter all the way to the right crease. And big Nick Rose trying to get there, but Aaron Wilson putting it low. He can't get the stick down. And the Bandits are back within 1. Second power play goal of the evening out of 3 opportunities.
8th goal of the year for the 11th year pro, Aaron Wilson. One of the top players, shooting 21% from the floor coming into this evening's game, and that'll improve tonight with his hat trick. 40 seconds left to play, third quarter. Bandits down by 1, 9-8, and they're rushing the ball from the right wing side, led by Scott Self. In over the line comes Hayden Smith for the Buffalo Bandits, and Nick Cotter. Cotter now tips it over to Luke Wiles. Wiles back over to Cotter. 25 seconds left. Cotter with the ball. Cotter from the slot area, far side. That's picked up. And a feed pass by Dane Smith over to Luke Wiles. Couldn't make the connection. Wiles over to Cotter. Cotter now with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Cotter being held up. A penalty coming up against the Rock. And with 8.3 seconds remaining, looks like the Rock will be going back to the penalty box.
Troy Cordingley, the head coach of the Toronto Rock, looking in disgust at the referees. Casey Burns is going to serve 2 for a slash. Accordingly, I think was frustrated on the original earlier Damon Edwards slashing penalty. When you watch the replay, I didn't really see a slash myself, but needless to say, he goes in the box. Buffalo comes within 1.
5 seconds left. Bandits trying to work it here in the third quarter of play. Time ticks down. Rebound out in front. Picked up by Buffalo. Top of the slot. Cope lets a shot go right at the buzzer. Went wide. So, fourth quarter coming up with Buffalo down by 1 and the man advantage. Toronto 9, Buffalo 8. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
One more time tonight, here's your Bandits. And tonight's fourth quarter replay is going to be brought to you by NLL Technology Services, the official IT service provider of your Buffalo Bandits.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Twin Village Recycling, Supercuts, Labatt Blue Light, Intense Milks, Clinton Auto Parts, iEvolve Technology, and H&R Block. We're ready for the fourth quarter of play tonight from downtown Buffalo at First Niagara Center with the Buffalo Bandits and Toronto Rock. The Rock leading it 9-8. Randy, numbers in the third quarter.
Yeah, numbers. The Toronto Rock leading in the loose ball department, 58-51. Nicky Rose out-saving Anthony Cosmo 34-25. But the Buffalo Bandits own the shooting category 42-34. You know, the penalties are actually kind of becoming a little bit more equal. 11 penalty minutes for Buffalo, 8 for Toronto. And this game was within 1. The Rock, 9-8. Kind of interesting at that timeout. Troy Cordingley, the bench boss here in Toronto, he just kept on gumming the refs back and forth and back and forth. I think he's very, very frustrated on the last 2 goals. The last one going to Casey Burns for the slash.
There's an over-shoulder shot by Buffalo in the opening minute here of this fourth quarter of play. The Bandits will be moving left to right, down by 1, 9-8. Toronto at one time had a 7-2 lead. Or Buffalo mounted the comeback second half of the second quarter. And on a 4-goal run, 2 goals scored within a span of 27 seconds. Toronto knocking on the door. They score! Short-handed, Toronto. Their 10th goal of the night.
I think just a little bit of a mental lapse, a little mental breakdown. Colin Doyle gets the ball up high. Buffalo's got their defensive guys on the floor, but nobody really gets out to him, goes and engages him until Stainhouse gets there. But I think it's a little late because Colin Doyle's got great deception. He looks like he's going to shoot high, and he just all of a sudden at the last minute brings the ball back down low and places it almost like between Cosmo's legs, a short-handed marker, and it just extends the lead back to 2. Bad goal for the Buffalo Bandits. Tough one to give up.
Well, Colin Doyle, who's been averaging 5 points this year, helping the Toronto Rock with a 2-goal lead in the early goings of this fourth quarter. Toronto's got the ball with 47 seconds left in the penalty to Casey Burns. Working it out from the outside. Stephane LeBlanc from the face-off circle of center to the near side. as it goes over to Josh Sanderson. Sanderson goes field wide to the far side, rushing in on the play. That one's Scott Evans, blocked into traffic, rebound, and Evans is hammered to the turf by a hard-checking Derek Suddens. Balled up along the boards. Sanderson triple teamed on the play, looking for the ball now on the turf with 15 to shoot. Picked up by Toronto and worked outside the line by Stephon LeBlanc. Toronto leading it 10-8 here in the fourth quarter of play. End of the line from the rock to the near side. Long pass over to Sanderson. That's stopped by Cosmo and cleared back out by Buffalo. There's a nice lead pass out into the Toronto zone, but it's intercepted by Toronto and worked right back over to the Buffalo line. Near side. Rock back to full strength here in this fourth quarter of play and leading it by 2, 10-8. Colin Doyle scoring a shorthanded goal. Taking a little wind out of the sails of the Bandits. And there's a shot to the right side of Anthony Cosmo. Stopped right at the goal line. Wouldn't have counted anyway because Scott Evans was inside the crease area. So Bandits go to work. Back out to midfield, carried by David Brock. Tips to the near side to Aaron Wilson, who's got the hat trick. Flips it over to Nick Cotter. Cotter now working it from the corner as Chad Culp digging his way out of traffic area. Dane Smith now from the top of the slot, near side over to Wilson. Tried to feed it out in front to Cotter, couldn't do it. Couldn't thread the needle, and the loose ball picked up by Aaron Wilson from the corner. Back over to Cotter with the shot, and Rose comes up with a nice save. Rebound now along the end boards. It looks like they didn't reset the shot clock, so it will be Toronto's ball, and it comes back out to midfield.
Yeah, that one went against Buffalo. I think Toronto had possession of the ball, but there was no reset that way. Wilson stripped, got the ball back for Buffalo, but the refs didn't see it. And a 30-second violation against the Bandits.
Fourth quarter action. 10-8 Toronto. Brock working the ball from behind the Buffalo net. Here's LeBlanc with a shot, and Cosmo comes up with a save. LeBlanc gets his own rebound, feathers it out over the near side, shot straight on, score! Ball goes to Josh Sanderson.
Unselfish play by the Toronto Rock. And again, another tic-tac-toe, all within like 6 feet of the net. Cosmo makes the original save. 3 Buffalo Bandits get upfield. You got to pick up the GB first. It goes tic-tac to Sanderson right in front of the cage, and he makes no mistake. The shooter goes high to low between Cosmo's legs, and the Rock have a 3-goal advantage.
Sanderson getting the goal for the Toronto Rock. 11-8 the score here in the fourth quarter of play. 11 minutes and 30 seconds remaining into regulation as Sandy Chapman works the ball outside the line over to Bill Greer. There's a feed pass out in front in the Buffalo zone. Doyle couldn't hang on to it. Handle the Bandits ball down to the left wing side as Chad Culp brings the Bandits out to mid-turf approaching the Toronto line. Here's Culp from the top of the slot. Far side pass over to Sean Williams. Down to the near side to Dane Smith with a shot, and he fires a howitzer to the left side of Rose. Rebound collected by Williams. Now to the near side over to Dane Smith. Smith with the ball. Works it into traffic. Top of the slot over to Aaron Wilson. There's a shot by Culp, but he couldn't get the full throttle on the swing of the stick. The loose ball picked up by Wilson. There's a shot straight on and picked up by Rose. And now cleared off by Toronto. Leading at 11-8 here in the fourth quarter of play. In over the line is Stephon LeBlanc. With the shot. Cosmo with a splitting save. Rebound collected by Scott Self. Feed pass over to Mark Stainhouse, who rushes right to the Toronto line. In and over he goes. Stainhouse eludes a check, takes a shot. He scores! He got hammered on the play, lost his helmet, but manages to score the goal.
Yeah, Damon Edwards came across a slide as he got picked off by Jimmy Purvis, and he come a little bit high, and Stainhouse helmet goes flying, but finishes the play, doesn't quit. I think the Toronto Rock are saying, hey, doesn't that have to get called down? Can you finish a play without your helmet? You got Stainhouse's flow. He's feeling it. He's looking like a champ, trying to figure out where his helmet went. It's a good goal nonetheless, but we're going to see if there's still a penalty. Is it a 5-minute major? I mean, hey, you went high. His helmet went flying. Accordingly's on the bench. He's not happy.
Let's see what it is. It might be a match call.
Now check this out.
Indeed it is. It's a match penalty on Damon Edwards, so it'll be a 5-minute major and a match call. He is ejected from the game.
Yeah, he's going to have to be paid some fines too, I think.
Smacked his helmet right off.
Well, here's what we got, John. We got 10 minutes left. Buffalo on a 5-minute major. You can score 3. And it seems like they have the momentum. They get back in the game, and then just something bad happens. They don't make the right play, and Toronto just strikes. They're getting enough shots at Nicky Rose. They got to be able to bury. 10 minutes left. But, this is pretty typical. Buffalo Bandits, Toronto Rock Lacrosse. You know it's going to go down to the wire. But now you can feel the energy in this First Niagara Center. Let's see if they can capitalize on the power play.
Sean Williams from the outside. Dane Smith works the top of the slot. Score! Williams!
And that one comes pretty quick. It's just a give and go up at the top. You're playing the 2-on-1. Nobody slides to the veteran. So he just says, hey, you know what? I'll just shoot it through the screen in between Nick Rose's legs. 10:03 left. The Bandits are down by 1. Quick release by the veteran. He's got 2 goals and 5 assists on the evening. Oh, excuse me, 25 seconds into the power play. I was looking at Scotty Fleetwood, our stat guy. We had a miscommunication.
Got the animation going on right now with 2 fingers, 3 fingers.
Well, subliminal.
Playing a little bit of charades here. Buffalo knocking on the door again, down in the Toronto zone. Top of the slot is Dane Smith. Looking for the lane, takes the shot. Hit the high netting. It'll be Buffalo's ball as Rose got a piece of that one. But hang on, 9:33 left here in the 4th quarter. Bandits on a roll. Rock leading it by 1, 11-10 tonight on Bandits Lacrosse.
Tonight's attendance is 14,918. Buffalo Bandits and First Niagara Center, thank you. All right, fans, time for tonight's Mad Minute. This was good timing as well. On the big screen, we've got Alexis, who's looking for the Bandits to score in the next 60 seconds of game plan. When that happens, Alexis, we're going to continue to the next game. Actually, if you look at Jersey, which to me is even better, Alexis. So the Bandits score, we got a power play opportunity. We got a pretty good chance to get that jersey. Okay, folks, now time for our 50-50 rapid drawing. Tonight's Buffalo Silver Cloud H 50-50 rapid is worth $8,064. Tonight's winning number, see on the big screen, 018-19152. 018-195-152. Congratulations on your account services.
Play like the pros. Lacrosse clinics at First Niagara Center are back this spring for children ages 8 to 16 years old. The clinic will run on March 29th, 23rd, and April 20th. Cost of each session is $59 per child, which includes instructions from Bandits forward Tracy Koloski. Go to bandits.com for more information. John Gertler, Randy Mearns with you this evening. 4th quarter action. Joe Hanault, our producer, and Scott Fleetwood, our statistician. And the Bandits on a roll. They're down by 1, but on a power play. A 5-minute major match penalty called on to Damon Edwards for taking off the helmet of Mark Stainhouse. And when we resume, the Bandits have the ball in the far Toronto corner.
Looking at the demeanor of the 2 benches, you look at Darius Kilgore. He's got a lot of momentum. He's, hey, guys, let's keep her going, keep her going. On the other hand, Troy Cordingley kind of still chirping at the refs, didn't think it should have been a major. Kind of, what are we doing? We're kind of letting it slip. 2 different demeanors on both benches.
Outside the line is Dane Smith. Now to Sean Williams with a shot, goes wide. Rebound, Williams gets his own rebound with 14 to shoot. Now Smith with a shot off the shoulder of Rose, resets the shot clock. Luke Wiles sets the ball up over to Williams. Now Williams to Dane Smith, who works the top of the slot. Deep into the corners it goes. Feeds it over to Wiles with a shot blocked off a Toronto defender. Rebound scoots out in front of the Toronto net, and it's picked up by Nick Rose, the goaltender, and clearing it back out to midfield. is Sandy Chapman. He'll hold up right in front of the bench. And the penalty-killing crew of Toronto comes out. Casey Byrnes has the ball. Near side pass over to Colin Doyle. Steps in over the Buffalo line. Doyle being double-teamed on the play, hanging onto that ball. Taking time off that major call onto Damon Edwards. Far side pass, shot! Just to the left side of the Buffalo net. Rebound jumps along the boards, and it's picked up by Jimmy Purvis. Or check that, Dane Smith. Smith setting up the play. Shot by Sean Williams. Blocked by Nick Rose, and Williams diving in front of the Toronto net. Ball is picked up by Toronto, and the loose ball, Jesse Gamble, is there.
Phenomenal save by Nick Rose. Williams out the front door. They get the quick 2-on-1. Willie gets a high. He goes all the way across. I think that went off the butt end of Nicky Rose's stick.
7:58 left to play in the regulation. Rock by 1, 11-10. Buffalo gets a break on the ball, and it's Mark Stainhouse has got it. Steve Priolo leading the way, blocking as Stainhouse hangs on to the ball. Here's Stainhouse to Priolo. Priolo with a shot to the left side of the Toronto net. Here come the Rock out of their own zone. 2:15 left in the 5-minute major call to Damon Edwards. With the ball down into the Buffalo zone. Ball carried by Evans. He's checked on the play. A penalty coming up against Buffalo. So Toronto will work the ball just from the face-off circle at center. Colin Doyle is there. Purvis after Doyle. Doyle outruns him. Here's Doyle with a shot. He scores!
The Toronto Rock pull Nick Rose as the delayed penalty was ongoing, and Colin Doyle, way up high, just gets around Jimmy Purvis, and it looks like he's going to go far, and he kind of bends his wrist and comes back between the legs of Anthony Cosmo. Now, I believe Buffalo, Hayden Smith, he may go for a 5. It looked like it was a little bit of a high hit. I'm sure Cordingley has been gumming. Scotty Evans, I don't know if he got him high, but Scotty Evans really sold it. Like all of a sudden the skid lid came up and he flew his helmet back. Let's see what that call is. And you're correct. Hayden Smith is going to serve his own 5-minute major for a high hit. Now that one may have been legit, or Scotty Evans. He's a wily veteran, and you kind of get up here close to the head. He kind of throws it back. The skid lid slides up. Gardinio right on it, and I'm sure, Coach Cordingley been jamming that away since Damon Edwards got 2, and then all of a sudden got ejected from the game. Tough call.
So a hat trick for Colin Doyle, fueling his club now to a 2-goal lead, and they got control of the ball with a shot going wide of the Buffalo net. Rebound along the near corner, picked up by Stephane LeBlanc. He's pushed hard by David Brock. LeBlanc getting a pass away and a shot straight on by Toronto. Rebound is collected by Josh Sanderson, and he'll slow the club down inside the Buffalo zone. Playing 4 aside here in this fourth quarter of play, 6:33 remaining. Ball is worked now by Toronto from the outside, the far corner, top of the slot as it goes over to Sanderson, over to Stephane LeBlanc. LeBlanc feed pass to the far side. Toronto getting an opening, and there's a shot over the shoulder. That goes wide of the Buffalo net. And down onto the turf falls Garrett Billings, but to no avail. Buffalo manages to clear the ball out off the stick of Steve Priolo. Bandits changing quickly on the fly, trying to get back into this game with 6:05 remaining to regulation. Dane Smith with the ball to the near side. Looks for a lane, hangs on to the ball with 14 to shoot. Here's Smith, far side pass, long drive by Williams, blocked into traffic, and it's picked up by Toronto, and they dash back out to midfield. 12-10 Toronto. Ball carried by Bill Greer. They'll float a long pass down into the far Buffalo corner, cleared back out to Toronto. To the left point, tipped over to Josh Sanderson, near side over to Colin Doyle. Doyle looking for a feed over to Sanderson, couldn't do it. Scott Self after Sanderson. There's Doyle face to face with Cosmo, and he scores. 13-10 Toronto.
Colin Doyle, how's he get sprung all alone in front of the net? There's a GB, and one of the Buffalo Bandit defenders started getting up the field, not too sure who it was, and Colin Doyle says, no, my guy's going to get it. I'm just going to go right to the net. And he makes no mistake and buries through the legs of Anthony Cosmo. to extend that lead to 3.
So here's the situation now with 3:03 left in the 5-minute major to Hayden Smith. That means Toronto's got the man advantage now, working it just outside the Buffalo line, and they've got a 3-goal lead now, 13-10 with 5:09 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Working the ball to Stephon LeBlanc. Feed pass out in front from Josh Sanderson. Swatted away by Derek Suddens. Casey Byrnes takes it away from him. Comes up with the ball. Leaves it now to the far side. Give and go shot in front of Cosmo. That's picked up by Buffalo, and hang on with 4:54 remaining. There will be a timeout tonight at the First Niagara Center with the Rock leading at 13-10. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Congratulations, just won a free large pizza courtesy of our locally owned and operated pizza Hut restaurants. And that will services to baby prize. Now time for the Bandits Brigade League raffle number. The winning ticket is 390704. If you're holding that winning ticket, congratulations, and that will services to baby prize. Gorilla collision of the game. For your applause, you can tell us which you think is tonight's Gorilla collision. Here's the first hit. Number 19, Jack Hall. Let's check out the second one. 98, Jimmy Bird is going to give it his one. Jimmy, there it is. That's a good one. What do you think, Bucks? How about hit number 1? How about hit number 2? Jimmy Curtis, that's got the right decision. It's just like Gorilla collision. The official collision repair.
Toronto coming back strong here in this fourth quarter of play on a 2-goal run. And to take the lead over the Buffalo Bandits, 13-10. And when we resume, the Bandits will have the ball. And it's critical time management now, Randy Mearns, for the Bandits to try to get something going, despite the fact of having to play shorthanded.
Well, right. First and foremost, they want to make sure that they kill off the 236, but they got to try to get something to the net, but not that will expose them in any kind of 3-on-2, 4-on-2 transition going back the other way. If they can get something to the net, that's fine, but they really got to make sure they get back and try to hold the fort in that 5-on-4 situation as they're trying to kill the Hayden Smith 5-minute major. They got to rely on Anthony Cosmo. 4 minutes, 54 seconds left. He's got to make the stops now because Toronto's going to get good shots. And this is where you got to prove your muster in the NLL from a goaltending perspective. He's got to make them. He's got to keep the Bandits in the game. And if you get out of this power play, this penalty trouble, they'll still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to try to go to work.
Shot on goal by Buffalo, but it's held by Nick Rose. Rebound jumps out in front. Sweeping is Nick Cotter, but Rose coming up again with another save, and here come the Rock with 4 minutes and 34 seconds left to play in regulation. They've got a 13-10 lead and the man advantage as Buffalo sets up their diamond in front of goaltender Anthony Cosmo. Toronto working the ball from Colin Doyle, feeding it out in front, tried to thread the needle over to Josh Sanderson, couldn't do it, and Buffalo's defense comes up strong, and Mark Stainhouse comes up with the ball and in over the Toronto line. Stainhouse, he scores!
And that's a huge goal for number 9. An inadvertent pass by Doyle just misses on the slip, leads to Buffalo transition. Stainhouse 1-on-1. Toronto Rock defenders are coming back. He doesn't want to make it a 1-on-3, so he shoots on the run. Using Billings as a screen and buries between the legs. Just like that, a shorthanded marker for themselves and the Buffalo Bandits down by 2.
4 minutes left to play in the regulation. Hat trick for Stainhouse now working for the Bandits in his defensive position as Toronto comes in over the line, led by Josh Sanderson. Colin Doyle from the slot area. Pass goes deep into the corner to Evans. Now back over to Doyle as Toronto works that ball very nicely. Stephon LeBlanc shot on by Josh Sanderson, but it goes wide and he's hammered by Billy D. Smith. Toronto gets the rebound. Fires it over to LeBlanc with a shot. Saved by Cosmo. LeBlanc gets his own rebound. Resetting the shot clock with 3:30 left to play here in regulation. Rock 13, Buffalo 11. Doyle working the ball. There's a shot and a score by Toronto.
And that's the sharpshooter on the right-hand side. Garrett Billings got a ton of assists this year, but boy, he can pot the ball if he wants to. It's a diamond set. Before the rotation, you get to Billings. He just goes high to the far side. And just like that, just extends the lead back to 3. Buffalo just can't get to that point where they're tying this game up.
14-11, Toronto. Buffalo winning the face-off as Jay Thornburg with a shot straight on, and Rose comes up with a gut save. The rebound picked up by Toronto, and they clear it back out to midfield. 3:10 left in regulation. Jesse Gamble works that ball outside the line. 45 seconds left in the major call to Hayden Smith. Toronto over the shoulder feed. Top of the slot is Sanderson. Stephon LeBlanc has it now over to Colin Doyle. Doyle back over to LeBlanc with the shot that's blocked into traffic. Rebounded in the near corner. Picked up by Toronto. There's a shot straight on. Cosmo comes up with a nice save and outlets the pass over to Mark Stainhouse at midfield. Trailing in is Scott Self. Here's Stainhouse with the shot, and Rose comes up with a big save. 2:35 left to play regulation. 14-11 Toronto. Stainhouse with the ball. 13 seconds left in the major call to Hayden Smith. Stainhouse hanging on to the ball. Plenty of time to shoot. Feed pass over to Self with a shot. He scores! Lower shelf by Scott Self.
And a timely goal at that, John. Stainhouse holding everybody outside. You always want to watch them. There's 2 of them. And Scott Self finds himself all alone and goes high to low to the far side. Another second shorthanded goal on the 5-minute major. Again, pulling the Bandits within 2. The penalty's almost up. It's going to get released. Buffalo's back in this game. It's all even. 2 minutes left in this game, Johnny.
Hayden Smith dashes over to the Buffalo bench, so it's 5 aside, and Buffalo storms into the Toronto zone. Deep into the corner, Buffalo setting up the stage now as Dane Smith sets the play up near side over to Mike Hominick. Hominick now over to Tracy Kelusky. He's rushed back over to the left point as Kelusky comes back in. Top of the slot feed now over to Dane Smith. Smith straight in, takes the shot left side of Rose. Picked up by Buffalo's Aaron Wilson. Wilson throws the ball into the Toronto corner with just 1 to shoot. And it's picked up by Toronto with 1:43 remaining here in regulation. 14-12 Toronto. They've got the ball outside the line, carried by Josh Sanderson. Sanderson now over to Stephon LeBlanc. Back over to Sanderson. Sanderson forced outside the line. Will go to the near side and tip it up in front of his bench. And it'll be picked up by Evans. Evans trying to feed it over to Stephon LeBlanc. Straggling for the ball is Steve Priolo. And Priolo comes up with it nicely and a feed pass back into the corner. Now to Stainhouse with 1:12 left in regulation. Working it from the left point. Uses the turf to get it over to Aaron Wilson. 6th attacker is out on the turf as Anthony Cosmo has gone to the bench. Buffalo taking a look at things outside the line. Near side pass Wilson. Wilson has got the ball. Setting the play up as Williams. Over to Dane Smith. It's blocked in traffic and picked up by Toronto. And Buffalo scrambles for the ball. 50 seconds left into regulation. Toronto struggling to get it out, and they finally do. And it's picked up by Bill Greer. And hang on, an 8-second violation.
Wow, that's huge. Buffalo regains possession. 44 left. Toronto had a 2-on-0 alone on Anthony Cosmo, who's trying to scramble back into the net. Buffalo's going to gain possession. And that call's gonna go against Toronto. That's a tough call because it looked like they had the ball. You know, they were looking to try to get it out, but just didn't beat the 8 seconds. The referee blowing the whistle quick. Buffalo's still going to have the opportunity now with Cosmo because of the confusion. 6-on-5 opportunity. And like we've seen last week, and like we've seen tonight, goals can come quick.
Here we go with the Buffalo knocking on the door inside the Toronto zone. Dane Smith tipping it back over to Sean Williams. Williams to the far side over to Mike Hominick. Now over to Kelusky with a shot that's blocked into traffic. Rebound to the near corner with 30 seconds left. Picked up by Buffalo. There's Kelusky far side. Uses the boards over to Chad Culp. Culp looking to get a shot away. Now to Wilson with a shot. Kick save by Rose with 20 seconds left. Rebound Buffalo. And it's Dane Smith. Smith works the ball. Back over to Wilson. Back to Smith. Smith with the ball. Feeding it back out in front. Nobody's there. Culp has to go back for it. It's on the turf with 9 seconds left. And we'll have a changeover here, an illegal pick, so it's Buffalo's ball with 8 seconds left. Top of the slot is Wilson. There's Smith with a shot. That hit the goalpost left side of Rose, and looks like Toronto is going to win this one 14-12. Boy.
Wow.
Just some mistakes here and there, a major penalty. Toronto with excellent ball movement, and Buffalo could not mount the return, and Toronto wins it tonight to snap Buffalo's 3-game winning streak. It's a final tonight here from Buffalo, 14-12. Rock over the Bandits. We'll be back with the pregame show after this timeout. This is Bandits Lacrosse.
Obviously, what assist for tonight's game. It does play the game is brought to you by Intense Cups. Supported from the Bandits. We got the favorite flavor of Intense Cup today. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Got everybody to see hopefully next Saturday night. Week from tonight, the Bandits take on the Rochester Nighthawks. Good night, please. Right now, take care.
What do you got, Joe? I've got Aaron Wilson at 7-7. Okay, 9-8. Okay. And then? $11-9. Okay. Okay.